Chapter 630. As soon as Ji Luofei stood up, everyone's eyes focused on Ji Luofei. This immortal cave had already maintained a balance. If there were no special circumstances, no one would casually move around. Ji Luofei was at the 7th level of Plundering Life Realm, which made her an expert in this place. But when such an expert suddenly stood up, everyone immediately became vigilant. Many people started to wonder if this woman felt that her cultivation had improved a lot, so she wanted to redivide her territory? This was because Ji Luofei's territory was not commensurate with her cultivation. With her cultivation at the 7th level of Plundering Life Realm, she definitely occupied the best territory in this place, rather than staying in a small corner. If Ji Luofei tried to snatch her territory, it would immediately lead to another melee. Every time a newcomer came here, it would lead to a melee. Relatively speaking, this female cultivator named Ji Luofei caused the least chaos. Ji Luofei didn't attack her neighbors but slowly walked towards the entrance of the cave. When she passed through the territory of a middle-aged male cultivator, the male cultivator immediately stood up and spoke. "What does this Dao friend mean? This is my place." Ji Luofei acted as if she hadn't heard the cultivator's words and continued walking forward. Even if he wasn't Ji Luofei's opponent, the cultivator couldn't bear it in such a situation. Otherwise, he would have no place in this immortal cave in the future. The cultivator raised his hand and brought out his weapon before shooting it at Ji Luofei. He didn't kill her, he just wanted to force Ji Luofei back. It wasn't that he didn't want to kill her, but he feared that Ji Luofei would become angry. He was only at the 3rd level of Plundering Life Realm, while Ji Luofei was at the 7th level of Plundering Life Realm. Everyone stared at Ji Luofei, wanting to know how Ji Luofei would deal with this matter. Although Ji Luofei had high cultivation, she rarely provoked the cultivators here and never started a dispute. This was the first time she took the initiative to provoke them. Because of this, the cultivators here didn't have any special impression of Ji Luofei's skills. When Ji Luofei first came here, although it caused a lot of chaos, after a crucible transformation cultivator died, Ji Luofei occupied the other party's territory and didn't continue to expand her territory. Therefore, although others feared her, they didn't have an intuitive impression of her. Ji Luofei was a stunning woman, yet no one took the initiative to look for her. It was not because the people here thought that everyone was in the same boat, but because Ji Luofei's cultivation was at the 7th level of Plundering Life Realm. As such, other cultivators did not dare to look for her. Ji Luofei had a feeling that Ning Cheng's aura was just outside. She could not stop herself from rushing out of the immortal cave to see Ning Cheng. And at this time, someone actually wanted to stop her. How could she tolerate this? Her celestial essence completely stimulated, and a 7-colored glazed ray of light shot out. The cultivator blocking Ji Luofei's path was immediately blown away. The powerful celestial essence made it so that the cultivator couldn't even stand straight. The power of the celestial essence directly sent him flying and slamming into the cave wall. But Ji Luofei did not seem to feel anything, and still walked towards the entrance of the cave. She didn't even think that the power she unleashed this time would exceed the limits of her cultivation. The surroundings turned silent. Even the only cultivator at the 8th level of Plundering Life Realm looked at Ji Luofei in shock. He did not make a move on Ji Luofei because he was wholeheartedly focused on cultivation and had no interest in women. But only now did he realize how powerful this woman was. If he fought against her, he most likely would not be able to beat her. At this time, the cultivators in Ji Luofei's path immediately gave way. Everyone could see that Ji Luofei did not come here to snatch their territory. Moreover, Ji Luofei's cultivation had completely suppressed the surrounding cultivators. Bang! A figure swept out by the Bridge of Storms rushed in. Li, who had been staring at the entrance of the cave, suddenly rushed up like a madman and hugged the figure in her arms. "Ning Cheng. Dear. It's really you?" Ji Luofei's entire body trembled, including her hands, her legs, and even her voice. She could clearly see that the person in her arms was Ning Cheng. No, even if she closed her eyes, she knew that the person in her arms was the one she was looking for. Ning Cheng's injuries were not heavy, but he had consumed a lot of energy. Even if he had a celestial bridge cultivation, he could still walk along the Bridge of Storms. But once he forcibly cast the dusk spiritual technique, he would have to stop the bridge of storms for a moment, or even rush up against the current. Even Ning Cheng's cultivation would not be enough. The moment he cast the dusk spiritual technique, the violent bridge of storms had completely consumed his celestial essence and spiritual consciousness. If not for his strong will and the heaven-defying dusk spiritual technique, he most likely would not have been able to rush out of the bridge of storms before getting swept away again. Nevertheless, the storm at the edge of the bridge of storms still managed to tear open a few bloody wounds on his body, making him look even more frightening. However, Ning Qing knew very well that he did not suffer any serious injuries, just some skin injuries. With his body, even if he lost his celestial essence, the bridge of storms would still not be able to tear him apart. As long as his celestial essence and spiritual consciousness recovered, he would be able to return to normal in a short time. At this time, Ji Lufei held him in her arms. Due to his excitement, he even forgot to take out a medicinal pill and put it in his mouth. Luofei. Ning Cheng finally recovered. This kind of feeling made him feel so happy that he almost moaned out loud. Ji Luofei also couldn't see Ning Cheng's cultivation. She didn't know that Ning Cheng had relied on his own strength to go against the current on the bridge of storms. She thought that Ning Cheng was looking for her and ended up getting swept into this hole by the bridge of storms just like her. Watching Lufei holding Ning Cheng and walking back to her territory step by step, the rest of the cultivators breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, they all looked at Ning Cheng with some envy. Ning Cheng didn't look like a pretty boy, so how could such a beautiful female cultivator with such a high cultivation be so loyal to him? Wait, I'm fine. Ning Cheng took out a medicinal pill and put it in his mouth. With the help of the grade 4 celestial pill, his celestial essence and spiritual consciousness quickly recovered. Ji Luofei still hadn't recovered from her excitement, but Ning Cheng had already fallen from her arms and stood up. The two stared at each other for a long time, forgetting to speak. It felt as if there were only the two of them in this place, and everything around them had disappeared. Time seemed to have come to a standstill, with only Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei in the entire space. At this time, no words could describe the excitement in Ji Luofei and Ning Cheng's hearts. I'm sorry. I didn't keep my promise to come back soon and made you suffer. Ning Cheng reached out and stroked Ji Luofei's hair before resting his hand on Ji Luofei's shoulder. Ji Luofei wore coarse clothes, but only Ning Cheng understood the reason. Ji Luofei wore these clothes back in the Zhangqin province. Now that she wore them, not only did she not want her appearance to attract others' attention, but more importantly, she missed him. Ji Luofei shook her head. No, I knew you would come back. You would definitely come back. As she spoke, she stared at Ning Cheng. You once said that I should listen to you. So I listened to you and waited for you. I knew you would come back. Ji Luofei's mind flashed back to the time in the Zhangqin province's 2-star academy. When she felt hesitant and didn't know what to do, Ning Cheng took her hand and said, "Just listen to me." Since then, she had always believed in those words. Ning Cheng had told her to wait for him in the rootless Black City. Even if she had many opportunities to leave the rootless Black City, she did not leave and waited for Ning Cheng here. Because she believed in Ning Cheng, believed in the words "just listen to me." If not for that crystal ball, she would not have come to the bridge of storms. Ning Cheng felt a little excited and fiery in his heart. He stretched out his hand and pulled Ji Luofei into his arms. "Dear, let's stay here from now on. I used to feel a little lonely here. Now that you're here, I don't feel lonely anymore." Ji Luofei spoke with a trembling voice. While speaking, she raised her hand to help Ning Cheng tidy up his torn clothes. Ning Cheng tightened his grip. "Lufei, I don't want to stay here. Let's go." Ji Luofei didn't even ask and nodded. "Okay, let's go." The rest of the cultivators in the cave looked at Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei in shock as they walked towards the entrance of the cave. Did they want to die? To be honest, under the terrifying bridge of storms, the cultivators who could be sucked into this cave abode could be considered the luckiest of the luckiest. However, if they wanted to rush out of the bridge of storms, they would definitely die. In the eyes of the cultivators here, under the violent power of the bridge of storms, even if one had a powerful cultivation, they would still end up torn to shreds. "Two friends, please wait." A sudden voice called out to Ning Cheng and Ji Lu. Ji Lufei stood beside Ning Cheng with a calm expression. Ning Cheng looked back at the cultivator who called out to him to wait. This was a cultivator at the middle stage of plundering life realm, with a thick beard and messy hair. From this, one could tell that this cultivator rarely tidied up his image. "What's the matter?" Ning Cheng asked casually. "Two friends, I also want to leave this storm cave. I'm willing to join forces with you too." The cultivator cupped his hands towards Ning Cheng. "Are you not afraid of death?" Ning Cheng spoke up in a calm voice. "Rushing out of the storm cave, the chances of survival are few and far between. Since you and your wife are not afraid of death, then why would I, Meng Ku, be afraid of death? I'm already tired of staying in this damn place. Unfortunately, I don't have any like-minded friends to rush out with me. My strength alone is too weak." The bearded cultivator looked at the rest of the cultivators and spoke up in a straightforward manner. Ning Cheng nodded, then suddenly looked at the rest of the cultivators and asked, "Is there any other friend who wants to rush out with me?" As this friend just said, there is strength in numbers. Regarding getting out of this place, Ning Cheng did not need to waste even half a second of his attention. With his cultivation, if he couldn't get out of this place, it would truly be a joke. The reason why he said this was that it was not easy for everyone here. If anyone wanted to go out with him, then he would help them out. No one answered. Following Ning Cheng, a cultivator who had just come in and was still riddled with scars? They were not stupid. Ning Cheng laughed. "In that case, let's go, friend Meng." While speaking, Ning Cheng had already stepped out of the cave with Ji Luofei in his arms. Chapter 631. Seeing Ning Cheng come out, Meng Ku quickly rushed out without any hesitation. As soon as he came out, he stimulated his true essence, wanting to resist the surrounding bridge of storms with Ning Cheng and Shi Qianghua. However, he immediately realized that he had taken it for granted. The moment his true essence touched the violent bridge of storms, it immediately disappeared without a trace. The terrifying power of the storm did not affect them in the slightest. Meng Ku gave out a helpless sigh. Sure enough, this place was not something that human strength could resist. In his opinion, Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei should have already been torn apart by the storm. Just as Meng Ku waited for death, he suddenly felt the violent bridge of storms around him weaken. If one could not die, no one would want to die. Meng Ku immediately brought out a defensive weapon. He was pleasantly surprised to find that his weapon could actually block the terrifying storm on the bridge of storms. "I don't have the ability to go against the current. Just protect yourself and follow behind me." Ning Cheng's voice arrived, and Meng Ku suddenly realized that it was not because of his good luck that he encountered a weakened bridge of storms, but because the injured cultivator in front of him helped him block the most violent part of the bridge of storms. After Meng Ku's surprise, he immediately felt horrified. The cultivator in front of him could walk against the current of such a horrifying bridge of storms, yet he was safe and sound. Not only was he safe and sound, but he could even help him block a part of the storm. What kind of cultivation was this? "Many thanks, Senior." Meng Ku thanked his choice and spoke out in a respectful voice. Ji Lufei also looked at the weakening storm around her in surprise. She finally understood that Ning Cheng did not get sucked into the hole by luck, but had deliberately entered it. From this, it could be seen that Ning Cheng's cultivation was much higher than hers. The higher Ning Cheng's cultivation, the happier she would be. Ning Cheng, holding Ji Lufei in his arms, continued to move forward along the bridge of storms. When the bridge of storms came to an end, just as they were about to be sucked into the next bridge of storms, Ning Cheng grabbed Meng Ku and activated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Ning Cheng's entire person immediately escaped from the gap of the bridge of storms. In less than half an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng once again rushed out of the entrance to the broken void island. The violent suction did not affect Ning Cheng at all. Instead, it increased Ning Cheng's speed. After a few breaths, Ning Cheng finally stopped and put down Meng Ku. When Meng Ku looked back, he found that he was already standing on the outskirts of the void island where the bridge of storms was located. He quickly reacted. It was Ning Cheng who brought him out, and quickly bowed in gratitude. "Many thanks for Senior's life-saving grace." Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, since you are willing to come out with me, it is also your luck. You can leave now. Yes, this junior will take his leave. Meng Ku excitedly took a few steps back and quickly rushed into the void. He had been trapped in the cave for countless years. Now that he was free, one could imagine how excited he was. After Meng Ku left, Ning Qing called out to Shi Qianghua. Is she elder sister Qianghua? Ji Lufei immediately knew who Shi Qianghua was the moment she saw her. Ning Qing then told Ji Lufei about the matter regarding Shi Qianghua from beginning to end. Ji Lufei on hearing this felt even more sour in her heart. She did not expect that Qianghua would suffer even more than her. She stepped forward and took Shi Qianghua's hand before leaning against Ning Qing and speaking, "Don't think about the past. Within the starry skies, those with low strength can fall at any time. It's fortunate that we can meet again." Ning Qing nodded and pulled up Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei before speaking. "Yes, it's fortunate that we can meet again." Ning Qing understood this sentence too well. When he first came to the rootless Black City, he had already felt the frailty of life. In this world, without strength, one's life would never belong to them. Later, he entered the starry skies and wandered the starry skies. As such, he understood this sentence even more. Just as Luofei said, in this place, being able to live and reunite with one another was already a very fortunate thing. "Luofei, why did you enter the Bridge of Storms? Was it because you saw a crystal ball?" Hearing Ning Cheng's question, Ji Luofei immediately took out a crystal ball and spoke. "I entered the Bridge of Storms to look for you because of this crystal ball." Ning Cheng picked up the crystal ball and swept it with his spiritual consciousness. A scene immediately appeared in his sea of consciousness. He was being chased by a swarm of exploding golden wasps into a whirlpool, followed by a female cultivator and a large swarm of exploding golden wasps. Ning Cheng finally understood why Ji Luofei believed in this crystal ball. This crystal ball was real. Whether it was him or the exploding golden wasps, all of them were real. There was even a vague shadow of Lanya inside. The only difference from what Ijuju said was that this place was not the Bridge of Storms, but a void collapse. However, why did Luofei believe that this place was the Bridge of Storms? As for how this crystal ball came to be, Ning Cheng did not doubt it. In the void, many cultivators, in order to hunt for void demonic beasts, or to spy on lone starry skies wanderers, would set up monitoring array discs in some hidden places. Most likely, when he was forced into the void collapse by the exploding golden wasps, someone must have set up a monitoring array disc nearby. However, the void collapse and the entrance to the Bridge of Storms had a clear difference, so why did Ji Luofei believe it? "Can't you see that the place I entered is not the entrance to the Bridge of Storms?" Ning Cheng looked at Ji Luofei and asked in doubt. Ji Luofei shook her head. "You left for so many years without any news, which made me very anxious. At that time, after I confirmed that it was you, I became even more anxious. Moreover, because Juju brought this crystal ball with her, she said that one of her friends accidentally recorded it in the Bridge of Storms. Juju would not lie to me, so I immediately took Juju to the Bridge of Storms. After arriving there, I felt that the entrance to the Bridge of Storms didn't look like it. Juju said that the entrance to the Bridge of Storms would often change because of the storms. I looked at it for a while and found that the entrance to the Void Island where the Bridge of Storms is located had indeed changed a bit. I also remembered that you also had the Jade Strip map of the Bridge of Storms, so I no longer doubted it. After leaving behind the communication pearl to Juju, I rushed in." Ning Cheng's expressions turned a little ugly. It seemed that Ijuju could not escape the suspicion. However, they had shown great kindness to Ijuju, so why would she want to harm Lufei? Ji Lufei continued, "After I entered the Bridge of Storms, I realized that I was too naive. It would have been impossible to save you in the Bridge of Storms. If it weren't for the 7-colored glaze that elder sister Jingxiu gave me, I would not have been able to stop the Bridge of Storms. Later, with the help of the 7-colored glaze, I managed to enter the previous immortal cave. After entering the immortal cave, I heard others talking about it. Only then did I realize that although the entrance to the Bridge of Storms had changed, no matter how much it changed, it was still different from the entrance you entered through. At that time, I realized that Juju was wrong." Ning Qing asked in a deep voice, Lufei, did Zhu lie to you? Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression. After a while, she shook her head. It shouldn't be. Zhu and I are like sisters. Why would she lie to me? I think that after I went in, she would have felt anxious and would have tried to find a way to save me. At this point, Ji Luofei hesitated. Strangely, after I went in, I never received any message from her. The messages I sent out also disappeared without a trace. Ning Cheng sneered, like sisters? She brought a male cultivator into our immortal cave for cultivation and even dual cultivated with that male cultivator. I rescued her parents and brought them to the rootless Black City. Just by looking at the way she treated her parents, I realized that you, as a sister, are unreliable. Ji Luofei's expression immediately changed, revealing a look of anger. She had a lot of trust in Zhu. Zhu was an introverted girl who usually did not talk to male cultivators, yet she unexpectedly brought someone into the city master's mansion for cultivation. It had only been 10 years, yet she had changed so much? Ji Luofei never doubted Ning Cheng's words. Since Ning Cheng said so, then it was the truth. Ning Cheng gave out a sigh and spoke, "Forget it. Let's go to the rootless Black City and say hello to Xu Xing before leaving this place." "I don't want to see her." As Ning Cheng stood at the entrance of the rootless Black City, Ji Luofei suddenly shook her head. She had always regarded Zhu as her own sister. If it were the other way round, and Zhu fell into the Bridge of Storms, she would have done everything she could to help Zhu. However, Zhu's performance disappointed her. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness did not find Zhu's family of 3. He knew that the Jin couple should not have the face to see him again. Therefore, they simply took their daughter and left the rootless Black City. Ning Cheng also did not want to enter the rootless Black City again. His spiritual consciousness swept out and found Xu Xing in the city master's mansion. It seemed that he had gained the support of many people. Regarding the rootless Black City, Ning Cheng had no feelings for it. He had paid a lot for the rootless Black City. However, after he left the rootless Black City, his wife Lufei fell into the Bridge of Storms. Yet, no one proposed to save Ji Lufei. Whether or not he could save her was one thing, but whether or not he wanted to save her was another. "Let's go." Ning Cheng directly brought out the starry sky wheel and rushed into the void with Ji Luofei and Shi Qianghua. In just a blink of an eye, they left the rootless Black City. Chapter 632. Boom Boom Boom. As the lightning waterfalls descended, Ning Cheng stood in the void, letting these lightning waterfalls fall on his body. This was the first time for Ning Cheng to surmount a tribulation in the void. In the distance, Ji Luofei was pulling Shi Qianghua to help protect him. Ji Luofei looked at the terrifying thunder tribulation and felt worried in her heart. She had also crossed the thunder tribulation, but the intensity of that thunder tribulation was not even as strong as the sparks from the thunder tribulation. Could Ning Cheng cross it? Facing the tribulation in the void made Ning Cheng feel helpless. If possible, even he would not be willing to undergo the tribulation in the void. Initially, he had listened to Shen Qinyu's words and thought that the celestial river realm's 3 realms did not have any thunder tribulations. But now that he had just advanced to the undead realm, he sensed the thunder tribulation. To avoid facing the tribulation in the starry sky wheel, Ning Cheng had no choice but to choose a void to face the tribulation. Because he did not know that he was different from others, he thought that when he advanced to the undead realm, there would be no thunder tribulation. Therefore, Ning Cheng crazily used perpetual moon pills to cultivate inside the starry sky wheel. As a result, a large amount of starry sky essence qi gathered within his body, which would not dissipate for a while. If he did not want to waste the perpetual moon pills that he had already used up, he would have to face the tribulation immediately. Ning Cheng had a thunder spiritual root, and was also a body-forging cultivator who had undergone nirvana. Surmounting the void tribulation, which others feared like a tiger, was not a big deal for Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng not only had an undead realm thunder tribulation, but it was also a very powerful one. Before the first wave of thunder tribulation arcs had passed, a series of thunder waterfalls followed. Even with Ning Cheng's powerful body, under this thunder waterfall, his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. However, Ning Cheng was getting more and more happy as he continued. This time, he still did not bring out the everlasting blue Thunder City. After absorbing the thunder source, he was able to condense a thicker lightning arc. Although these lightning arcs could only scare off low-leveled cultivators and had no effect on cultivators in the Celestial Bridge realm, being able to condense lightning arcs to attack opponents was already a huge improvement. In the future, as long as he obtained Lightning God Art, he would be able to grasp it in the shortest time possible. As the lightning arcs descended one after another, Ning Cheng's celestial essence and spiritual consciousness also started to grow crazily. Although there were more and more scars on his body, but Ning Cheng's heart was getting happier and happier. Strength was the true capital. As long as he was strong, he would have a foothold in the future. Kacha, a slight sound emerged. It was as if a barrier within Ning Cheng's body had been opened. At this moment Ning Cheng felt his entire body become comfortable. The celestial essence that had been congested in the meridians started to disperse like seawater without a dike. In just a flash, the celestial essence concealed itself in the various meridians and Zifu, and no longer felt the celestial essence overflowing. So powerful, Ning Cheng just wanted to roar out. He finally advanced to the undead realm. Every time he broke through, his cultivation would rise in a straight line, and he would have this feeling whenever he became crazily powerful. As his celestial essence circulated through his meridians, the wounds caused by the thunder tribulation healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. His body, which was riddled with scars, quickly became extremely smooth, and the contours of his body became distinct. Undead realm, so this was what it was all about. Ning Cheng raised his arm and looked at the smooth skin. He finally understood what it meant to be in the undead realm. It was the rebirth of the body. Even though his lightning tribulation was too terrifying, his ability to resist was also incomparably heaven-defying. The lightning tribulation could only cause some skin wounds, but it could not really harm his body. After advancing to the undead realm, Ning Cheng believed that even if his body suffered some real damage, as long as it did not remove his roots, he could still regenerate his broken limbs. Cultivating to this day, he finally gained the ability to speak a few words within the starry skies. The real powerhouses within the starry skies should be cultivators in the heaven-seated realm or above. However, Ning Cheng had confidence in himself. He believed that his undead realm was completely different from others in the undead realm. The cultivation resources he had would be enough for others to cultivate to the heaven-seated realm. This was the source of his confidence, not to mention that he was a true body-forging cultivator. Luofei, Xianghua, we can go to the second revenant star now. Ning Cheng laughed and shouted towards Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei in the distance. Ji Luofei pulled Shi Qianghua's hand and looked at Ning Cheng's perfect naked body. Holding Shi Qianghua's hand, her palms started to turn moist, but her heart turned fiery hot. Only when she was with Ning Cheng could she feel this kind of happiness. In Ning Cheng's view, the celestial lord of the second revenant star was just a life and death powerhouse. Although he had a huge gap between him and a life and death powerhouse, he believed that with his current strength, even if he couldn't beat them, he could at least escape. Even an eternal powerhouse might not be able to catch up with his starry sky wheel, right? Not to mention a life and death cultivator. Besides, he wanted to go to the second revenant star to find someone. As long as named descendant Celestial River King didn't come looking for him, he wouldn't take the initiative to provoke him. Second revenant star, named descendant Celestial River's premier starland. It was somewhat similar to Grand Culmination Starry Skies Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City, or Striking Order Starry Skies Striking Order Starland. This place was not only the residence of named descendant Celestial River King, a life and death powerhouse, Jiyangyao, but also the place with the richest celestial essence in the entire named descendant Celestial River. Ning Cheng took Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei to the periphery of the second revenant star before putting away the starry sky wheel. Ning Cheng came here to see if Yan Ji was here and also to see if his sister Rulin and the others had come to this place. He had used his spiritual consciousness to search the supporting Taro star but didn't see Rulin and the others. However, in the second revenant star, no matter which city it was, Ning Cheng didn't dare to use his spiritual consciousness to destroy the restrictions around it. This place wasn't a small place like the supporting Taro star. This place definitely had a lot of heaven-seated experts. As the premier planet of the named descendant celestial river, the second revenant star not only had a large starland but also had many celestial river-class cities. After Ning Cheng entered the second revenant star with Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei, he didn't go to the premier city of the second revenant star, Descendant City. Instead, he went to Coherence Pearl City, a city close to Descendant City. Although Ning Cheng believed that no one here would know that he had entered the immortal Jade Star, he still wanted to be careful. First, he had to go to Coherence Pearl City to inquire about the situation. For example, did Celestial River King Jiangyao go to the Grand Culmination Starry Sky? What did Jiangyao look like? Had he seen him before? In a corner of a rest stop in Coherence Pearl City, the Ning Cheng trio sat down and ordered a pot of spiritual tea. When the waiter brought the spiritual tea, Ning Cheng was about to stop the waiter. He wanted to inquire about named descendant Celestial River King Jiangyao. At this moment, a discussion between several cultivators at the table next to him attracted Ning Cheng's attention. What you said is nothing. The day before yesterday, the Striking Order Chamber of Commerce auctioned off a quasi-spirit artifact in Descendant City. I heard that it was sold for countless permanent essence pills. That is the real treasure. In fact, it's not a real treasure. A few years ago, when the Grand Culmination Starry Sky's immortal Jade Star opened, the Wind Thunder Apricot, the Earth Origin Bead, and a top-grade flight-type weapon, the Starry Sky Wheel, appeared. Those are the real treasures. Let's just listen to these things. I heard that a Celestial Gatherer cultivator snatched away the Earth Origin Bead. That fellow really had some luck. So what if he snatched it away? Can a Celestial Gatherer cultivator keep the Earth Origin Bead? I heard people say that it is related to a good fortune treasure. What is a good fortune treasure? Does anyone know about it? I don't know about it. I don't know about good fortune treasures, but I do know that a fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe appeared in Grand Culmination Starry Sky's Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City. I also know about it. I heard that it happened in an artifact crafting pavilion. Later, Heavenly Emperor leveled heart sealed that artifact crafting pavilion. I didn't expect that the owner of the artifact crafting pavilion would come back some time ago. This senior is also a ruthless person. He fought with a Starry Sky Emperor and finally destroyed that artifact crafting pavilion. Ning Cheng felt surprised. He knew that Baiqi's artifact crafting store contained a fragment of the good fortune indestructible axe. Later, Zhongli Baiqi left Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City and never came back. Ning Cheng never expected that after he left Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City, Zhongli Baiqi would come back and fight with another Starry Sky Emperor. According to this situation, Chuan Xinluo should not have returned to Grand Culmination Starry Sky. If Chuan Xinluo came back, Zhongli Baiqi would have to face the consequences. However, Ning Cheng didn't know what happened to Jianjiao. Zhongli Baiqi might have come back with junior apprentice Sister Yan, but he would never take away Jianjiao. If something happened to Jianjiao, wouldn't he feel ashamed to face Zhang Wei? Thinking of this, Ning Cheng decided to sneak back to Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City after leaving Second Revenant Star. How about going to see Jianjiao? But in any case, he didn't want to see his cheap master, Zhongli Baiqi, again. Ning Cheng always felt that Zhongli Baiqi had taught him something, which meant that he wanted some help. If this help was for the artifact crafting competition, it wouldn't have mattered. However, Ning Cheng feared that Zhongli Baiqi might have other intentions. With his current cultivation, he couldn't even stand a chance against Zhongli Baiqi. Seeing Ning Cheng fall into contemplation, Ji Luofei no longer spoke to Ning Cheng. Outside the second revenant star, a female cultivator standing at the front of a flight-type weapon suddenly looked in the direction of the second revenant star. She immediately stopped the flight-type weapon and looked at the second revenant star in disbelief before muttering to herself. Sacred Master said that Sacred Lady Qianghua had been kidnapped. How could she appear in the second revenant star? The celestial wheel behind this female cultivator had already formed into a huge wheel, and the surroundings looked even more vast. Apparently, this female cultivator was at least a heaven-seated expert. She was Everlasting Sacred Shrine's heaven-seated expert, Mi Jin. She had not come out to look for Sacred Lady Qianghua. But now that she knew that Sacred Lady Qianghua was in the second Revenant Star, she would never pretend not to know. Mi Jin quickly responded. After sending out a message, she immediately rushed towards the second Revenant Star. Sacred Lady Qianghua was the hope of the everlasting sacred shrine. Sacred Master had calculated that Qianghua was the most suitable woman to become the Sacred Lady of the everlasting sacred shrine. She would lead the everlasting sacred shrine to a new era of glory. After the collapse of the immortal Jade Star, Sacred Lady Qianghua disappeared, and no one knew where she went. Later, after the everlasting sacred shrine investigated everywhere, they concluded that Sacred Lady Qianghua had most likely been kidnapped by a malicious sect. Now that Mi Jin sensed that Sacred Lady Qianghua had appeared in the second Revenant Star, she did not dare to delay and immediately wanted to take Qianghua away. The cultivator who dared to kidnap the everlasting sacred shrine's Sacred Lady was definitely not a simple person. Therefore, she decided to integrate herself into Qianghua's aura and sneak attack her. Even if the person who took away Qianghua was a life and death powerhouse, they would not have noticed her approach in a hurry. By the time she felt Qianghua's aura grow stronger, her sneak attack would have already succeeded. Chapter 633. Ning Cheng was still pondering over it when Shi Qianghua, who was sitting next to him, suddenly stood up and threw herself at him. Bang! A dull sound erupted on Shi Qianghua's body, causing Shi Qianghua to spurt out a mouthful of blood onto Ning Cheng's neck. Ning Cheng instantly understood that someone had sneak attacked him, and Shi Qianghua had saved him. At this moment, his anger rushed to the top of his head. Why did Shi Qianghua suddenly consciously save him? Ning Cheng did not even think about it. He grabbed a few medicinal pills and put them into Shi Qianghua's mouth while bringing out a long spear. A violent killing intent swept out around him, causing the surrounding cultivators to retreat. Some of the seats that were close to Ning Cheng's killing power directly turned into dust. At this time, even if Chuan Xinluo were here, Ning Cheng would not be able to control his anger, not to mention that this place was just a small celestial river city. Qianghua had suffered a lot and finally managed to be together with him, yet she ended up seriously injured because she helped him block a sneak attack. If he could endure this anger, then he would not be Ning Cheng. He could feel that the attack that had struck Shi Qianghua's body had weakened by more than 100 times the moment it struck Shi Qianghua. However, none of this mattered. What mattered was that someone had sneak attacked him, and Qianghua had helped him block it. Mi Jin looked at Shi Qianghua in shock. She did not expect that Sacred Lady Qianghua would take the initiative to stand up and help the person she wanted to kill. The moment her sneak attack struck Shi Qianghua, she had retracted 99% of her power. Even so, Shi Qianghua still ended up seriously injured. The powerful backlash almost caused her to spit out a mouthful of blood. If she had not retracted 99% of her celestial essence, even 10 Shi Qianghuas would have already died. It was normal for Sacred Lady Qianghua to perceive her killing intent, as she had fused with Qianghua's aura to launch a sneak attack. To put it bluntly, it was equivalent to Qianghua directly attacking the cultivator next to her. Therefore, Qianghua would have felt her killing intent the first time. Moreover, she also knew that this killing intent was directed at the cultivator next to her. However, she really did not expect that Sacred Lady Qianghua would risk her life to help this cultivator block it. When she retracted her celestial essence, she ended up suffering from a backlash. Just as this thought flashed through Mi Jin's mind, Ning Cheng's long spear had already arrived. The long spear seemed to roll up everything around it, forming a huge spatial vortex. Ning Cheng's spear wrapped around the celestial essence's killing power and the domain. The long spear within the vortex then turned into a spear line and arrived in front of Mi Jin. This was the move that Ning Cheng had comprehended from the Angry Axe's second move, Tornado. Using a long spear to display, the might of this move was equally astonishing. At this moment, Ning Cheng's domain had completely enveloped Mi Jin, making her unable to move at all. Mi Jin finally sobered up from the shock of Shi Qianghua suddenly risking her life to save Ning Cheng. With a slight sway of her body, 2 white lights shot out from her hands. As soon as the 2 beams of white light shot out, they turned into ripples. Ning Cheng's powerful celestial river domain started to shatter inch by inch under these ripples, giving off bursts of cracking sounds as if something was breaking apart. Then the two white lights condensed together in the middle of the ripples, and in a flash blocked Ning Cheng's spear. Boom! The violent celestial essence impact force rolled up, and Ning Cheng was sent flying by this force before slamming into the wall of the rest stop. No matter how hard the rest stop was, it could not block the impact of Ning Cheng and Mi Jin's killing intent and imposing aura. As such, when the celestial essence blasted out, it immediately collapsed. All the cultivators in the rest stop immediately rushed out. Ji Lufei also rushed out of the rest stop in time with Shi Qianghua in her arms. The cultivators who rushed out of the rest stop did not go far. Instead, they all looked at the two cultivators fighting in shock. One had to know that fighting in the city would result in the death of a celestial river king. These two cultivators truly had guts to even dare to fight in the coherent Pearl City. Not only did they fight, but they also directly turned a rest stop into ruins. Although Mi Jin managed to break Ning Cheng's killing move in a hurry, and at the same time sent Ning Cheng flying back, she also had to take a few steps back, causing her injuries to worsen. She understood that the cultivator fighting with her had not reached the heaven-seated realm. It stood to reason that she should not fear a cultivator who had not reached the heaven-seated realm. However, she still felt horrified in her heart at this moment. Even if she was injured from the backlash, a cultivator who had not reached the heaven-seated realm could exchange a move with her without falling into a disadvantageous position. It was simply appalling. This kind of cultivator was definitely a powerhouse among powerhouses. She had never heard of a cultivator who had not reached the heaven-seated realm and had not yet severed the Tao filth, being able to fight against a cultivator in the heaven-seated realm. But today, she saw it, and it happened right in front of her eyes. She had personally tested it out and found that she could defeat her opponent with her strength. However, if she wanted to kill her opponent, it would be somewhat difficult. If she could not kill such a cultivator, and instead ended up becoming enemies, what would the consequences be? Mi Jin unexpectedly did not pursue and kill Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng landed on the streets of the coherent Pearl City, while his killing intent and imposing aura continued to rise. If he did not kill this Taoist priestess, he would never stop. Even if he had to use Sunset's twilight, he would kill this woman. Stop! After learning about Ning Cheng's formidable potential, Mi Jin did not want to offend someone like Ning Cheng. How could Ning Cheng stop? Why didn't she say anything when she sneaked up on him? The long spear in his hand once again transformed into nothingness, and then rolled up a void spear pattern. These spear patterns started out with only a few, but as Ning Cheng's spear intent gradually rose, more and more spear patterns appeared, from a few to dozens, and then to hundreds. Each spear pattern brought with it a violent flame aura, which merged with Ning Cheng's celestial river domain and swept towards Mi Jin. In front of these spear patterns, anything that stood in its way would shatter and turn into nothingness. That's right, this was Ning Cheng's nothingness flame pattern spear. As the endless spear patterns shot towards her, Mi Jin's eyes turned even more dignified. She did not fear Ning Cheng. Rather, Ning Cheng's spear intent had already surpassed the realm of transcendent mortals. At this level, almost any spear intent could be unleashed without the slightest trace. Even if she was a powerhouse in the heaven-seated realm, she could not ignore Ning Cheng's attack. Two white lights also rolled up in a flash, and the domain of a heaven-seated powerhouse completely stretched out. When it collided with Ning Cheng's domain, it turned all the surrounding buildings into flying ash. Countless cultivators rushed out of the buildings and stood on the sidelines to watch from afar. Since the city master of Coherence Pearl City had arrived, he did not dare to stop it. He was just a cultivator in the Heaven's Mandate realm, while one of the two powerhouses fighting was a heaven-seated powerhouse. The other could fight against a heaven-seated powerhouse. How could it be simple? Did he, a puny Heaven's Mandate cultivator, want to stop it? Boom boom boom. The violent celestial essence once again rolled up, and Mi Jin's white lights once again blocked Ning Cheng's nothingness flame-patterned spear shadows. The spear shadows turned into strands of celestial essence power, which plowed out countless deep ravines on the street. As the violent power swept over, Ning Cheng was once again blown away and spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. Ning Cheng gave out a sigh in his heart. His cultivation was still too low, but even so, it could not stop him from killing this Taoist priestess. Because he had spat out a mouthful of blood, he saw the Taoist priestess falling back under his nothingness flame-patterned spear, and also spat out a mouthful of blood. Mi Jin's injuries had indeed worsened. Rather than saying that she was injured by Ning Cheng, it was more accurate to say that she had suffered a backlash from her celestial essence, which resulted in an old injury. But now, under Ning Cheng's powerful celestial essence, it was normal for her to spit out a mouthful of blood. Ning Cheng, who was still in the air, turned around and flew back. This time, the long spear turned into a spear line that even spiritual consciousness could barely see. It directly crossed the spatial distance between him and Mi Jin and arrived in front of Mi Jin. This was the move Ning Cheng had prepared to use before using Sunset's Twilight, Traceless. Facing this move, even if this Taoist priestess was powerful, she would have to resist it with all her might. Then he would use Sunset's Twilight to take the life of this Taoist priestess. Even if he couldn't take the other party's life, he would at least make this Taoist priestess pay a heavy price. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, stop. Shi Qionghua's voice suddenly arrived, causing Ning Cheng's celestial essence to stagnate. Traces of Traceless had already appeared. Ning Cheng no longer cared about continuing to attack. His figure shifted sideways and arrived in front of Shi Qionghu. Qionghu, are you all right? Shi Qionghu could call him Senior Apprentice Brother Ning and even speak to him to stop. Apparently, the forbidden technique she had used before had disappeared. For Ning Cheng, Shi Qionghua's recovery was more important than killing this heaven-seated Taoist priestess. Shi Qionghu did not directly answer Ning Cheng's words and only spoke up, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, Uncle Master Mi Jin has shown me great kindness. She also thought that you wanted to harm me, which is why she attacked you. Whether she was all right or not, only she knew it in her heart. However, she did not want to say it out loud. At this moment, she stared at Ning Cheng in a daze, as if she wanted to imprint Ning Cheng's entire figure into her heart. Mi Jin, on seeing Ning Cheng stop, also felt slightly relieved. She was obviously stronger than Ning Cheng, and her cultivation was also much higher than Ning Cheng's. However, when Ning Cheng went all out, she felt an extreme fear in her heart. This kind of fear was something she could not describe in words. If not for her dignity as a heaven-seated powerhouse, she would have already asked Ning Cheng to stop fighting. At this moment, Shi Qionghu spoke up. She also came over and spoke up, what Sacred Lady Qionghu said is correct. There was some misunderstanding before. Mi Jin would like to apologize to this Tao friend. As a heaven-seated powerhouse, apologizing to a cultivator who had not even reached the heaven-seated realm was a very shameful thing. However, Mi Jin knew very well that Ning Cheng was not an ordinary celestial river cultivator. Once he advanced to the heaven-seated realm, he might even be able to kill her in seconds. Within the starry skies, there was a saying, without heaven-seated, all are ants. Once a true heaven-seated cultivator advanced to the heaven-seated realm, not only would they obtain their own heaven-seated title, but they would also be able to sense the traces of their own grand Tao. Therefore, every heaven-seated starry sky cultivator was a prideful individual. How could a proud heaven-seated cultivator put down his dignity and apologize to an ordinary cultivator? However, during Mi Jin's fight with Ning Cheng, she felt a sense of fear. This kind of fear made her not want to make such a strong enemy for the everlasting sacred shrine. Chapter 634. Now that Shi Qionghu had recovered, Ning Cheng felt extremely happy in his heart. The only reason he had come looking for seeking caution was because the other party had injured Shi Qionghu. Now that Qionghu had recovered, and even asked him to stop, Ning Cheng did not intend to look for trouble with this woman in this place. He knew that he was not a match against Mi Jin. Even if he used his dusk spiritual technique, he might not be able to defeat Mi Jin. Moreover, once he used the dusk divine ability, he would never be able to show his face again. Qionghu Leve, let's go. Although Ning Cheng did not plan to continue, he also did not want to talk to this woman. fighting in Coherent Pearl City and causing the city to be in such a state, he could no longer stay here. Mi Jin immediately spoke up, Qianghua is my everlasting sacred shrine's sacred lady. She cannot go with you. Ning Cheng stared at Mi Jin and spoke with a cold voice. What about the everlasting sacred shrine? Today, even if your limitless holy emperor's sacred master came, he would not be able to take Qianghua away. Not continuing to fight with Mi Jin in the Coherence Pearl City was one thing, but letting Mi Jin take Shi Qianghua away was another. He would definitely not let the other party take away Shi Qianghua. Now that Shi Qianghua had recovered, he would immediately take Shi Qianghua away. Mi Jin's expression turned ugly. She did not want to offend this cultivator, but she also knew that even if this cultivator was not her opponent, with her current injuries, she would not be able to kill him. At this time, she could only look at Shi Qianghua. If Qianghua was not willing to leave, then there was nothing she could do. Shi Qianghua softly looked at Ning Cheng and spoke in a soft voice. Senior apprentice brother, I'm sorry. I want to follow Uncle Master Mi Jin to the everlasting sacred shrine to thank you for saving my life. Ning Cheng looked at Shi Qianghua sluggishly, as if his heart had fallen into an ice cave. He wanted Shi Qianghua to go with him, but Shi Qianghua herself was not willing, so what could he do? Looking at Ning Cheng's soulless appearance, Ji Luofei could not help but speak up from the side. Senior apprentice Sister Qianghua, you were also his wife in your past life. Why are you not willing to come with us? Shi Qianghua shook her head, as she calmly looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. I am the sacred lady of the everlasting sacred shrine. Since Uncle Master is here, then I must go with Uncle Master. Talking about a past life is ultimately illusory and vague. Then he turned to Ji Luofei and spoke. Lufei, your husband is a good person. Don't leave him. After saying all this, she turned to Mi Jin. Uncle Master Mi Jin, let's go back. Mi Jin took Shi Qianghua and, in a blink of an eye, rushed out of the Coherence Pearl City and disappeared from Ning Cheng's line of sight. Ning Cheng blankly looked at the direction in which Shi Qianghua had disappeared at the entrance of the city. His expression was incomparably lost. It was as if the most precious thing in his life had just left him. Ji Luofei felt uncomfortable in her heart. She stepped forward and grabbed Ning Cheng's hand and spoke in a soft voice. Dear, let's leave this place. Then let's get out of here. Ning Cheng spoke, but his feet did not move. Ji Luofei was aware of everything that happened between Ning Cheng and Shi Qianghua. She was also aware of elder sister Qianghua's position in Ning Cheng's heart. However, she could not help Ning Cheng at all, and could only quietly stand by Ning Cheng's side and wait. After a long time, Ning Cheng suddenly sobered up as he took Ji Luofei's hand and spoke with a trembling voice. Luofei, I can't let Qianghua leave like this, just like I can't live without you. I have to chase her back. Ji Luofei clenched Ning Cheng's hand and spoke. If you really can't let it go, then go chase after elder sister Qianghua. I'll go with you. Okay. Ning Cheng's eyes immediately lit up. He reached out and hugged Ji Lu. His figure flashed, and in just a breath, they disappeared from the Coherence Pearl City without a trace. After Ning Cheng and Shi Qianghua left, the Coherence Pearl City regained its hustle and bustle. The streets were crisscrossed with ravines, indicating that two powerhouses had fought in this place. Many of the cultivators knew that when these two powerhouses fought in this place, the city master of the Coherence Pearl City was also present. Even after the two powerhouses left, the city master of the Coherence Pearl City did not come forward. Qianghua, did you remember something from your past life? Seeing Sacred Lady Qianghua constantly looking back in the direction of the Coherence Pearl City, Mi Jin gave out a sigh. She knew that Sacred Lady Qianghua must have recalled something from her past life. Uncle Master, I didn't. Shi Qianghua lowered her head. No one wanted to return to Ning Cheng more than she did. Mi Jin suddenly spoke up. You are the most suitable sacred lady for the everlasting sacred shrine, because you have reincarnated 9 times. However, this is also your last reincarnation, because you broke your pure Yin body in your past life. If you fall in this life, you will disappear within the vast samsara, and there would no longer be a Qianghua. Apparently, she could see that Shi Qianghua had some vague impressions of her past life. As such, she might as well speak out the pros and cons of it. Did the everlasting sacred shrine choose me as the sacred lady because I am a reincarnated body? Shi Qianghua raised her head and looked at Mi Jin with incomparably clear eyes. Mi Jin hesitated for a while but did not speak. Shi Qianghua gave out a sigh and spoke, "Uncle Master Mi Jin, I have a hidden illness. If one day I fall in the hands of the everlasting sacred shrine, do you know what would happen to him? No one knows his temper better than I do. He might not be able to do anything to the everlasting sacred shrine right now, but once he gains that ability, the everlasting sacred shrine would fall into a lot of trouble." Mi Jin remained silent. She knew who sacred Lady Qianghua was talking about, and she did not doubt Shi Qianghua's words. That male cultivator had not even reached the heaven-seated realm, yet he was already this terrifying. Once he advanced to the heaven-seated realm, she felt sure that even a sacred master would not be his opponent. If such a cultivator wanted to do anything to the everlasting sacred shrine, then the everlasting sacred shrine might really become history. Looking for Qianghua to become the sacred lady was to carry forward the glory of the everlasting sacred shrine. However, once sacred Lady Qianghua's words came true, then the everlasting sacred shrine might really fall into a great crisis. Mi Jin hesitated for a long time before speaking. "Qianghua, you were a very remarkable person in your first life. Once you cultivate to a certain extent, you will be able to recover the memories of your first life. At that time, the everlasting sacred shrine would become one of the most powerful sects in the vast starry skies because of your existence. However, after you recover the memories of your first life, maybe you would be the first person to kill the man who destroyed your essence in." Shi Qianghua's gaze moved away from Mi Jin and stared at the vast starry skies. Even if she recovered the memories of her first life, she would not kill that man. She was willing to do it, and being with him, she felt very happy. Seeing that Shi Qianghua did not answer her words, Mi Jin continued, "In the future, when you recover the memories of your first life, maybe you will thank the everlasting sacred shrine for the choice it made for you. Moreover, you should know that if the sacred master was determined to kill the cultivator who wanted to take you away, I'm afraid that he would not be able to escape, let alone grow up. During the years you were gone, the sacred master broke through the life and death realm and advanced to the eternal realm." At this point, Mi Jin's expression changed. A moment later, a very ordinary flying cart-type weapon rushed over and stopped her airship. She couldn't even see the grade of this weapon. Ning Cheng had refined 49 layers of restrictions on the starry sky wheel, which meant that Ning Cheng had already sealed its aura. Even if an eternal cultivator did not stand on the starry sky wheel, they might not be able to see through it with their spiritual consciousness. Therefore, Mi Jin, who was only in the heaven-seated realm, naturally couldn't see through it. Shi Qianghua's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise, but it quickly turned into a sigh. She had already guessed that the sacred master would advance to the eternal realm in a short time, but she didn't expect it to happen so quickly. The sacred master had advanced to the eternal realm. So what if Ning Cheng chased after her? Mi Jin also gave out a sigh and said, "Since he chased after you, you can talk to him yourself. It's best to make it short. I've already sent out a message. The everlasting sacred shrine's disciples in the vicinity will soon come over. Sister Qianghua is here." Who stood on the deck in front of the starry sky wheel, immediately called out in joy. Ning Cheng excitedly stopped the starry sky wheel and opened the restrictions, allowing Shi Qianghua to rush in. "Qianghua!" Ning Cheng called out with excitement. Although he only spoke 2 words, his eyes had already written out all the words in his heart. Ji Luofei silently retreated into the cabin. She had a hunch that Sister Qianghua should have recovered the memories of her past life. Shi Qianghua stood on the deck of the starry sky wheel and stared at Ning Cheng in a daze. Her entire body trembled. Previously, she could still endure it in the crowd. But now, she could no longer endure it, nor did she need to endure it. "Husband." After Shi Qianghua called out those 2 words, tears streamed down her cheeks. She had been trying to control her sadness, but with Ning Cheng chasing after her, how could she control it? For a moment, she even wanted to give up everything and follow Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Qianghua called him husband, which meant that Qianghua had already recovered the memories of her past life and knew that he was her husband. Qianghua. Ning Cheng called out sluggishly, "Did you remember the memories of your past life?" Woo! Sure, Qianghua finally couldn't help but rush to Ning Cheng's side. She hugged Ning Cheng tightly and burst into tears. Ning Cheng stretched out his trembling hands and held Shi Qianghua in his arms. "Qianghua, let's go together. Don't go back to the everlasting sacred shrine. Let's go home." Since Qianghua recognized him, then she had to go with him. There was no reason for her to return to the everlasting sacred shrine. "I can't go with you." Shi Qianghua spoke while sobbing. "I'm the sacred lady of the everlasting sacred shrine. If I'm not by your side, you must take care of yourself." Shi Qianghua could no longer continue. Ning Cheng's hand froze. Shi Qianghua's reluctance to go with him before was excusable. It was because she did not know that he was her husband. But now that she knew, why did she still not want to go with him? What was so good about being the sacred lady of the everlasting sacred shrine? No, Ning Cheng suddenly understood something. He hugged Shi Qianghua tightly and spoke, "Qianghua, this is not what you originally meant. You must be worried that the sacred master of the everlasting sacred shrine would not let me go, so you don't dare to go with me, right?" Shi Qianghua, seeing that Ning Cheng finally understood what she meant, spoke up while sobbing. "The everlasting sacred shrine has many heaven-seated powerhouses. Moreover, there are only 3 of us. Once I go with you, with the temperament of the sacred master, even if you run to the ends of the earth, she will find you and kill you." Ning Cheng smiled and spoke to Shi Qianghua. "Fool, my current strength is not as good as that sacred master. We can hide. When we have the strength in the future, we can come out." Shi Qianghua gently stroked Ning Cheng's hair and shook her head. "It's useless. Sacred Master has already advanced to the eternal realm. As long as she and I are in the same starry sky, Sacred Master will know where I am. Today, even if Uncle Master Mi Jin did not come, as long as Sacred Master comes out, Sacred Master will find us." Chapter 635. Little Sister Lufei. Mi Jin, on seeing Ning Cheng's solemn expression and overflowing with worry, also understood Ning Cheng's purpose for coming here. She immediately spoke up. "Concealing soul-blessing life is one of the 2 forbidden techniques of the limitless Holy Emperor. It allows one to conceal their spiritual soul and life essence in order to bless their future life. There are 2 ways to undo this forbidden technique. One is to use the supreme treasures of heaven and earth, constantly nurture them, and after 49 years, awaken them. At that time, his mysterious yellow bead would become a real world. Qianghua would remain in the mysterious yellow bead. Even if the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred master was in the eternal realm, she would not be able to sense Qianghua. Seeing Mi Jin lose her composure, it showed how powerful this concealing soul blessing was. Ning Cheng's heart sank even more. Ning Cheng finally understood why the 2 were arguing. As Lufei said, Qianghua was alone in everlasting sacred shrine, which made him feel worried. No matter how good his senior apprentice sisters were, they all had their own selfish motives. However, if Lufei went to everlasting sacred shrine, he would feel even more worried. He needed to find the metal origin bead and the wood origin bead. Only by finding these 2 origin beads could his mysterious yellow bead take away Lufei and Qianghua. In addition, he also needed to find the purple Yin spirit spring. As long as there was such a spirit spring, he would find it even if he had to go to the ends of the earth. "What is it?" Ning Cheng's tone turned anxious. With that, Ning Cheng did not wait for Shi Qianghua to answer. He immediately rushed out of the starry sky wheel and landed on Mi Jin's battleship. Ning Cheng felt even more annoyed at this woman in front of him, but thinking that Qianghua had to go to everlasting sacred shrine, he could not do anything. Mi Jin sighed. According to the explanation of the concealing soul blessing forbidden technique, if someone is forcibly awakened by this forbidden technique, they should be able to slowly recover under the everlasting sacred tree. It's just that no one has ever tried it before, so there is no way to confirm it. Purple Yin Spirit Spring. Ning Cheng repeated the words. He had never heard of such a thing. This made him determined that even if it took a few more years, he would finish reading the book given to him by Zhongli Baiqi. This time, Shi Qianghua suddenly spoke up. In that case, wait, come with me. If someone is affected by this technique, they would only need to stay under the everlasting sacred tree for a few years before waking up. If someone is affected by this technique, they would only need to stay under the everlasting sacred tree for a few years before being awakened. Qianghua was forcibly awakened. I don't dare, Qianghua Shi. Mi Jin felt very afraid of Ning Qing. Even if Ning Qing lowered his posture, she did not dare to act arrogantly and quickly returned the courtesy. You don't have to worry about it, we have already gone through so many trials and tribulations, so this time we will definitely be able to get through it. Seeing Ning Qing deeply worried, Shi Qianghua's tone became even more gentle. She hoped that Ning Qing would not worry about her. Shi Qianghua gave a sweet smile and spoke. For me to be able to meet you again at this time, it is already a gift from the heavens. What else can I ask for? Seeing Ning Qing come back, the two of them subconsciously stopped their quarrel. You must not go. Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei's voices resounded at the same time. Ning Cheng's heart felt as if it was on fire, causing him to feel incomparably tormented. He looked into Shi Qianghua's eyes and spoke. Qianghua, I will never let you go to the everlasting sacred shrine alone. Even if I have to cross plains, I will find a way to save you. What? Mi Jin exclaimed in shock on hearing Ning Cheng's words. Purple Yin Divine Spring. Mi Jin spoke up calmly. The main function of the Purple Yin Divine Spring is not to restore people who have fallen under the soul-concealing life-blessing forbidden technique. Instead, it strengthens spirit techniques and reshapes the 6 meridians. However, this kind of thing is only recorded in the records of my everlasting sacred shrine. As for what it is, I only know its name. I don't know where it comes from, nor do I know its origin. I have cultivated for countless years, but I have never seen anyone sell the Purple Yin Divine Spring, nor have I heard of anyone obtaining the Purple Yin Divine Spring. Dao friend Mi Jin, Ning Qing has offended you before. Qianghua wanted to return to the everlasting sacred shrine. Although Ning Qing felt very uncomfortable with Mi Jin, he could only lower his stance. Shi Qianghua had just spoken a few words when Ji Luofei stopped her. Sister Qianghua, my cultivation is too low. If I follow him, he would have to take care of me. Besides, if we want to meet, we can leave our communication pearls and meet at any time. I'll go with you to the everlasting sacred shrine. Even if I have to take out all the time stones, I will ask the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred master to place you under the everlasting sacred tree. Ning Qing spoke up resolutely. With Qianghua in such a state, letting her return to the everlasting sacred shrine alone, he really did not feel at ease. Not only did he not feel at ease with Qianghua, but he also did not feel at ease with that sacred master. That sacred master also did not look like a good person. There was also a sentence that she did not say. She had a vague feeling that she had completed 9 reincarnations in her previous life, which allowed her to regain the memories of her first life and achieve her own Tao. It was only because she met Ning Qing in her previous life that she managed to break her pure Yin body, which led to many hardships. Husband, the sacred master values me very much and will definitely place me under the everlasting sacred tree. Moreover, if you don't go to the everlasting sacred shrine, the sacred master might not dare to do anything to me out of fear. Once you go, the sacred master would no longer have any scruples. Shi Qianghua's eyes showed some anxiety. She was worried that Ning Qing would desperately go to the everlasting sacred shrine with her. Ji Lufei came out of the inner cabin and spoke. Husband, Sister Qianghua is right. We don't have the strength right now, and we don't have any heritage. If we can only take out something to ask the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred master for help, we might as well not go. Shi Qianghua quickly spoke up. Husband, I have nothing to do in the everlasting sacred shrine. Luofei can at least take care of you. Ning Cheng's voice suddenly rose. If Qianghua is forcibly awakened, would she be able to recover under the everlasting sacred tree? Ning Cheng thanked Mi Jin once again before returning to the starry sky wheel. Ning Cheng cupped his fists again before asking, Dao friend Mi Jin, Qianghua used the soul-concealing life-blessing forbidden technique. Later, because of severe injuries, she forcibly woke up. The life forbidden technique I used is called Soul Concealing Life Blessing Forbidden Technique. If one does not wake up normally, one's soul would disappear. In the everlasting sacred shrine, there is an everlasting sacred tree. If I stay under the everlasting sacred tree for a long time to cultivate, I might be able to save my life. Husband, you don't have to worry about me. After I go back, the sacred master will definitely let me stay under the everlasting sacred tree to cultivate. After I recover, I will come back to you. Shi Qianghua spoke in a soft tone without even a shred of anxiety. Ning Cheng looked at Shi Qianghua blankly. He did not expect that in the end, he would have to return to the everlasting sacred shrine. Husband, I want to go to the everlasting sacred shrine with Sister Qianghua. Sister Qianghua is alone in the everlasting sacred shrine, with no one to take care of her. Ji Lufei, on seeing Ning Cheng return, quickly spoke up. Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards Mi Jin and spoke up in a respectful tone. Dao friend Mi Jin, after Qianghua returns to the everlasting sacred shrine with you, I would like to ask Dao friend to help place Qianghua under the everlasting sacred tree. Even if I have to ascend to the heavens or descend to the earth, I will find the purple Yin spirit spring. Ning Cheng suppressed the anxiety in his heart and spoke up in a relaxed tone. Apart from that, is there anything else that can help someone forcibly awaken from this technique to recover? She had already figured it out. It was also a good thing for Luofei to go with her. Luofei's cultivation was still too low, and she could cultivate with peace of mind in the everlasting sacred shrine. If one day, she could never wake up again, Luofei could take her away from the everlasting sacred shrine and return to Ning Cheng's side. Mi Jin spoke up in a stern tone. Qianghua is my everlasting sacred shrine's sacred lady. Even if you didn't say it, I would have asked Sacred Master to place Sacred Lady Qianghua under the everlasting sacred tree. What's more, Sacred Master would have definitely taken the initiative to do so. Seeing Ning Cheng clenching his fists and frowning, Shi Qianghua put her hand on Ning Cheng's face and spoke up in a softer tone. When I entered the eroding life cliff, I used the life forbidden technique. My husband must have used a top-grade heaven and earth treasure to allow me to move. Unfortunately, I didn't use the normal way to remove the life forbidden technique. Instead, it was because I suffered a heavy blow that temporarily removed the life forbidden technique. It even allowed me to restore the memories of my previous life. The everlasting sacred shrine recruits many disciples every year. With my qualifications, I should be able to stay in the everlasting sacred shrine as a disciple. Elder Sister Qianghua's injuries have not healed yet. You should help Elder Sister Qianghua look for healing spiritual grasses. My cultivation is too low, and it would only be a burden if I followed her. It would be better to stay in the everlasting sacred shrine and take care of Elder Sister Qianghua while cultivating. Ji Lufei understood Ning Cheng's concerns and comforted Ning Cheng. As soon as he returned to the starry sky wheel, he saw Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei arguing about something. Ning Cheng felt surprised. Qianghua and Luofei were his closest people. If the two of them argued, it would not be good for him to help either of them. Mi Jin hesitated for a moment before speaking up. There is indeed something. But not to mention you and me, even an eternal starry sky emperor would not be able to obtain it. Because this thing is too precious. It's so precious that we might not even have it in our world. If it did exist, I'm afraid that all the sacred emperors in the starry sky would fight for it. Qianghua. Ning Cheng suddenly felt shocked. He had initially thought that Shi Qianghua had recovered. He did not expect that it was just a temporary removal of the forbidden technique. Ning Cheng understood the meaning behind Ji Luofei and Shi Qianghua's words. Once he took out the time stone, he feared that he would never be able to leave the everlasting sacred shrine. It would be tantamount to walking into a trap. Even if he did not take out the time stone, the everlasting sacred shrine's sacred master would not let him go easily. Ning Cheng paused. Although the minor 5-element array formation in the mysterious yellow bead could store a miniature world, it was very unstable. In case something happened, it would be too late for regrets. At this moment, Ning Cheng wanted to find the metal and wood origins even more. Only when he gathered the metal and wood origins would his mysterious yellow bead be able to transform into a miniature world. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and felt a sense of powerlessness from the depths of his heart. He nodded. Luofei, you and Qianghua can stay in the everlasting sacred shrine for a while. I'm going to look for something. Speaking until here, Mi Jin looked at Ning Cheng with an apologetic expression. Previously, Sacred Lady Qianghua could already move freely. Presumably, Dao Friend must have used a supreme treasure to feed it to Qianghua. Chapter 636. Second Revenant Star's Descendant City. Ning Cheng had stayed here for 2 months, but at this time, he had disguised himself as a middle-aged man with a yellow face. During these 2 months, besides inquiring about Ning Rulin and Yan Ji, he also waited for news about Qianghua and Luofei. Other than that, he also posted a message in the guild in Kuan City, looking for a cultivator with a blurry image. Ning Cheng had obtained a metal origin crystal in the border city. According to that cultivator, this metal origin crystal was a gift from someone else. As for the person who sent it, he could only draw a blurry image. During this time, Ning Cheng did not cultivate. Instead, he used his spare time to study the book that Zhongli Baiqi had given him. Currently, his spiritual consciousness was more than 10 times stronger than before. In these 2 months, he had already read through the basics of crafting artifacts 5 times. According to Zhongli Baiqi's intentions, he would have to read the book 4 more times before he could finish reading the entire book. After reading the book 6 times, Ning Cheng benefited a lot. Not only did he get to know a large number of smithing materials, he had also familiarized himself with the various smithing techniques and formations. Although he might not be able to use the methods in the book, it was a revelation that he would not be able to figure out in a short period of time. 2 months quickly passed by, but Ning Cheng did not find any news about Ning Rulin and Yan Ji. However, he did manage to wait until Ji Luofei sent him a message. Ji Luofei and Shi Qianghua had already settled down in the everlasting sacred shrine, which made Ning Cheng feel relieved. He decided to leave Descendant City and continue searching for the cultivator who gave him the metal origin crystal. He possessed the mysterious yellow bead, but because he was afraid that others would feel the mysterious yellow aura, he did not dare to enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate. Now that he couldn't bring anyone along, it made him extremely depressed. For him, the most important thing right now was for the mysterious yellow bead to gather all the 5 element origins. At this moment, he received a message from the Union. Someone recognized the blurry figure of the cultivator. Hearing this news, Ning Cheng immediately wanted to go to the Descendant City's trade union. The Kuan City Guild could issue all kinds of news and quests, and they could also accept all kinds of quests. Accepting a mission did not require star coins. Depending on the mission, multiple people could accept it at the same time. However, to issue a message or a mission, one had to pay star coins. Ning Cheng had originally released a message. Only after someone took up the task and completed it, then he would need to come back to the guild. The first reason he came to the guild was to give the guild some remuneration. The second reason was to make contact with the cultivators who accepted the quest. If someone could really recognize that cultivator, it would mean that he had taken another step forward in his search for the metal origin bead. Yang Kai didn't know if the metal origin bead was on that cultivator's body or if it was on one of the planets like the Earth origin bead. When Ning Cheng thought of the Earth origin bead, he suddenly stopped. Although he had obtained the Earth origin bead, it was only a bait placed by several starry sky emperors. It was only after Zhang Wei's reminder that he became vigilant. Could this metal origin bead be the same? Whether it was or not, it was better for him to be careful. Ning Cheng once again returned to the rest stop and changed his appearance to that of an honest-looking youth with a celestial shatter cultivation before heading to the trade union. After handing over some of the celestial coins to the trade union, Ning Cheng finally met with the cultivator who took up the task. This was a female cultivator with only a celestial gatherer cultivation. She looked a little thin, with slightly yellowish hair and a slightly blue complexion. However, Ning Cheng had a vague feeling in his heart that this person was definitely not just in the Celestial Gatherer realm, but even higher than the Celestial Gatherer realm. The female cultivator looked at Ning Cheng and spoke with a frown. I asked around, but you shouldn't be the one who issued this task, right? Ning Cheng quickly lowered his posture and spoke with a respectful tone. Senior, the one who issued the task was my master. My master went to another celestial river and asked me to stay here for 2 months. If there is no news in 2 months, I will also leave Descendant City. I have already brought the 1 million purple coins. I don't know if Senior has any news about that person. There is no definite news, but I met this cultivator a few years ago in Bright South Celestial River's Nazir Star's sacred Kuan City. As for his name and appearance, I don't know. The female cultivator stared at Ning Cheng and spoke with a calm voice. Many thanks, Senior. This junior will definitely bring this news to my master. This is the reward from my master. Senior, please check it. Ning Cheng did not ask any questions at all and took out 1 million celestial coins and handed it to the female cultivator. According to reason, the answer given by this female cultivator did not mean that she had completed the task. However, Ning Cheng still did not ask much and directly gave out the reward. This female cultivator wanted to wait for Ning Cheng to say that he had completed the task and wanted to reduce the celestial coins. She wanted to teach Ning Cheng a lesson and then take Ning Cheng away. However, she did not expect that this puny celestial shatter cultivator would be so straightforward. He did not even ask half a word before giving out the reward. She could only watch Ning Cheng's back disappear from her sight with a cold expression. This was Descendant City. She did not dare to do anything unscrupulously. An hour later, the female cultivator left Descendant City and went straight out of Second Revenant Star. After the female cultivator left, Ning Cheng immediately changed into an old man's outfit and also left Second Revenant Star. Feeling the faint spiritual consciousness imprint, Ning Cheng sneered. Even if you were more cunning, you would still have to drink this father's foot-washing water. Ning Cheng had already placed his spiritual consciousness on top of the purple coins. Therefore, even if this cultivator walked far away, he could still vaguely track him. Moreover, he felt sure that this cultivator's cultivation was not only in the Celestial Gatherer realm, but even higher than his own. A cultivator with a higher cultivation than him, why would he come here to complete a task for a mere 1 million purple coins? Moreover, it was even more unlikely that he would come here to cheat him of 1 million purple coins. Ning Cheng had only issued a low-level task, and he had never thought of letting those powerhouses come here to complete it. After following her for a few days, Ning Cheng felt even more convinced that his guess was correct. This female cultivator had a lot to do with the cultivator with the metal origin crystal. That's because this female cultivator was heading towards Bright South Celestial River. Obviously, this female cultivator's goal in going to Bright South Celestial River was Ning Cheng. Although Ning Cheng had never been to Bright South Celestial River, he felt somewhat familiar with it. Back then, Bright South Celestial River King had given him an image card to track him. However, he never expected that Ning Cheng would use the image card to his advantage. Although Bright South Celestial River King felt angry, he couldn't do anything to Ning Cheng for a while. Later, he could only tell Ning Cheng to go to Bright South Celestial River no matter what. Ning Cheng directly put this advice aside. He didn't want to go to Bright South Celestial River before advancing to the heaven-seated realm. Now that he had tracked this cultivator who might know about the metal origin bead, he had no choice but to come to Bright South Celestial River. What puzzled Ning Cheng was that when this female cultivator approached Bright South Celestial River's Nazir Star, she suddenly turned a corner. Despite the doubts in his heart, Ning Cheng did not hesitate and also turned a corner. 2 days later, Ning Cheng felt that the other party had stopped. He quickly put away the starry sky wheel and used the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to carefully conceal his traces as he approached. Along the way, he only followed his spiritual consciousness imprint and never dared to sweep out with his spiritual consciousness, mainly because he feared that the other party would detect it. Now that the other party stopped, he naturally did not dare to continue using the starry sky wheel. An hour later, Ning Cheng finally stopped, as he felt that something was wrong. He had confidence in his spiritual consciousness. Even if he only had an undead cultivation, The spiritual consciousness extended out from his starry sky sea of consciousness could not compare to a cultivator in the heaven-seated realm. But now that he swept out with his spiritual consciousness, all he saw was a starry sky without anything else. He couldn't even feel the spiritual consciousness imprint he had placed on the celestial coins. Although he couldn't feel the spiritual consciousness imprint, Ning Cheng still felt that the other party hadn't gone far and should have disappeared somewhere nearby. It was just an intuition. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng completely converged his aura and hid his figure. Then he slowly merged into the surrounding starry sky. 1 day, 2 days. As time passed by, Ning Cheng still waited patiently. He believed that his judgment was not wrong. On the 3rd day, Ning Cheng once again felt the spiritual consciousness imprint he had placed. Immediately, a figure appeared under his concealed spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng instantly retracted his spiritual consciousness. He was too familiar with this figure. It was the vague image he was looking for. The female cultivator he had been chasing for a few days had disappeared, and then the cultivator he was looking for appeared. Ning Cheng felt sure that this cultivator was the female cultivator he had seen. This cultivator brought out a battleship and stepped onto the battleship. The battleship quickly disappeared without a trace. As the battleship disappeared, Ning Cheng felt his spiritual consciousness imprint move further and further away from him. Ning Cheng gave out a sigh. The cultivator who had just left was indeed the female cultivator from before. Her only purpose for coming here was to disguise herself as the person she was looking for and then wait for him to appear in St. Kuan city of Nazar Star. Ning Cheng did not continue to follow this cultivator to St. Kuan city. Instead, he rushed towards the place where the female cultivator had suddenly disappeared. If he had not seen the female cultivator disappear for 2 days, even if Ning Cheng came here, he would not have felt anything unusual. Because his spiritual consciousness could not sweep out anything, nor could he feel anything. Since coming here, he had only passed by occasionally. But now, Ning Cheng knew that there must be something in this place. It did not matter if he could not feel it. He was also an Imperial Array Master who could arrange Grade 4 Celestial River Array formations. Ning Cheng threw out one array flag after another, and arranged one interference array formation after another. Half a day later, a vague array entrance appeared in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng felt pleasantly surprised. Sure enough, there was something hidden here. Even he could not see through this hidden array entrance, which meant that it definitely was not of a low level. Originally, Ning Cheng thought that this place was a hidden planet or a lesser heaven domain. He did not expect it to be an array entrance. Apart from cultivation, Ning Cheng had also studied array formations the most. He could tell at a glance that this array entrance was a void array entrance. The void array entrance was equivalent to a transfer array. After entering this array entrance, one would be transported to another place. Ning Cheng kept trying to throw out array flags, trying to find a way to open the array entrance. If the void array entrance was not deliberately locked by the person who arranged it, then a skilled array formation master would have a very high chance of opening it after repeated experiments. Ning Cheng's luck was quite good. After 2 days of repeated array formation experiments, he finally managed to open a gap in the void array entrance. The moment the array entrance opened, Ning Cheng did not hesitate. He put away all the array flags outside and flashed into the void array entrance. Chapter 637. A feeling of dizziness washed over him. Ning Cheng knew that this was caused by the void array gate. The dizziness did not last long before he landed on the ground. Dense starry sky essence chi spread out, and as far as Ning Cheng's eyes could see, all he could see was a lush greenery. It turned out to be a cultivation wonderland. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found a void array entrance behind him. He had just entered from this void array gate. If he wanted to go out, he just had to step on this void array gate again. A moment later, Ning Cheng's gaze landed on an immortal cave not far away, with a void array gate surrounding the immortal cave. It was obvious that there were 2 exits in this place. Such a good place, Ning Cheng sighed. This place was somewhat similar to the immortal Jade Star, but much smaller than the immortal Jade Star. Moreover, his spiritual consciousness could cover the entire planet. Not only was this place rich in celestial essence, but it also had green mountains and clear waters, which made it suitable for secluded cultivation. The only thing he was worried about was that other than the 3 void array gates, there was no other way out of this planet. It was like a sealed planet, completely unrelated to the surrounding starry sky. Ningqing walked into the immortal cave and found that not only was the celestial essence aura inside even richer, but the furnishings inside were also extremely luxurious. Unfortunately, this was just a training ground without any treasures. Even if the celestial essence in this place was extremely rich, Ningqing would not choose to cultivate in this place. He once again returned to the void formation that he had just entered from and began to set up the formation. That female cultivator had disguised herself as the person he was looking for and went to Bright South Celestial River to wait for him. As long as she couldn't find him, she would definitely come back here after a long time. All he had to do here was to set up a formation and wait for the rabbit to come to him. No matter why the other party schemed against him, he had to capture this fellow first. Chain killing array, trap array, illusion array, spear intent array, axe intent array, explosion array. In the air, underground, Ningqing was not clear about the cultivation of the other party, but as long as he could arrange an array formation, and as long as he could think of an array formation, he would arrange it in front of this array entrance. As long as the cultivator came out of the array entrance, they would immediately be ambushed by him, who was hiding in the array formation. Then, there would be a variety of trap and kill arrays that would cooperate with him to kill the cultivator. With such precise calculations, Ningqing believed that there should not be any problems. Perhaps when the time came, he wouldn't even need the help of any array formation at all, and he could kill his opponent with a single strike of his spear. In the beginning, Ningqing was afraid that this cultivator would return soon, and was also worried that he had not arranged enough array formations. However, 3 months had gone by and the cultivator had yet to return. But at this time, Ningqing had to remove his original array formation and then rearrange it. After 3 consecutive months of setting up array formations, the person he wanted to trap had not returned. However, his array formation skills had advanced to the level of a level 5 array king. Since he could arrange a grade 5 celestial river array formation, Ningqing naturally did not want the grade 4 celestial river array formation that he had previously arranged. Another 2 months passed by. Ningqing estimated that he would be able to advance to the tier 6 array king level, but that cultivator still had not returned. This made Ningqing feel very frustrated. He had already wasted 5 months in this place, and other than reaching the level of a tier 6 array king, he had gained nothing. After arranging another grade 5 celestial river killing formation, Ningqing dropped down the array flags. For nearly half a year, he had been constantly setting up array formations. He was on the verge of vomiting. That fellow still hadn't returned, so he really didn't want to set up any more array formations. There was a saying that flowers do not bloom if you have the heart to plant them. Just when Ningqing was not in the mood to arrange another array formation, a ripple appeared on the void array entrance. That fellow had returned. Ningqing's spirit shook, and the long spear fell into his hands. Sure enough, after a few breaths, a vague shadow appeared on the rippled void array entrance. That's right, this shadow belonged to the female cultivator who had left before. Ningqing did not even think about it and shot out with the long spear in his hand. Spear Dao Spirit Technique, Traceless. According to the strict requirements, Ningqing's Traceless was not a spirit technique. At best, it was a spear technique. However, Ningqing's understanding of the spear intent had reached a critical point, and his spear technique showed signs of evolving into a spirit technique. Coupled with Ningqing's deep understanding of this spear technique, when he displayed it at this time, it was not much different from a spirit technique. The traceless spear shadow was shadowless and invisible, turning the space between it and its target into nothingness before it directly arrived in front of the cultivator. The cultivator did not expect that the first thing he would encounter upon returning to his territory would be a sneak attack. The moment the traceless spear shadow enveloped him, he understood that someone had broken into his territory and even tried to sneak attack him in his territory. In a hurry, the cultivator punched out, while his figure turned into a distorted shadow of nothingness. Boom! A powerful backlash erupted, and the long spear in Ning Cheng's hand felt like it had struck a piece of fine iron that could not be pierced at all. The spear shadow dissipated in an instant, and the murderous intent completely disappeared. Poof! Ning Cheng spurted out a mouthful of blood on the spot, and his whole body sunk into the ground. Ning Cheng's heart suddenly sank. He had tried to overestimate this fellow, but the other party's strength was still higher than he had estimated. He had occupied this place and waited for a sneak attack. However, the other party not only broke his sneak attack, but also injured him. This definitely was a heaven-seated powerhouse who had not suffered any injuries. Good heavens, this fellow really knew how to play the pig to eat the tiger. A cultivator in the heaven-seated realm had actually disguised himself as a female cultivator with celestial gatherer cultivation to take on his low-level task. Although his heart sank, Ning Cheng did not give up. The long spear once again swept out, bringing with it a series of nothingness flame patterns. Although the spear attack did not injure the other party, it had forced the other party into his seemingly infinite array formations. He had arranged so many grade 5 celestial river killing formations and entrapment formations outside. Combined with his attacks, he did not believe that he could not kill a cultivator in the heaven-seated realm. Boom boom boom. Ka-ka-ka-ka. Sounds of array formations shattering emerged one after another. Ning Cheng understood that his grade 5 celestial river array formations were constantly shattering. Fortunately, his attainments in arranging array formations had advanced. If it were a grade 4 celestial river array formation, he would have no choice but to escape. He could not wait for this fellow to completely shatter his array formations. At that time, he would not have any chance other than to escape. From the looks of it, the reason why he did not suffer a big loss against Mi Jin the last time had a lot to do with Mi Jin's backlash. A true cultivator in the heaven-seated realm was truly powerful. Who the hell are you? How dare you hide in this king's place and sneak attack this king? A shocked and angry voice arrived. How was this a female cultivator? It was clearly a male cultivator. Ning Cheng did not speak at all. His seemingly endless nothingness flame-patterned spear, apart from leaving some blood marks on the other party, did not achieve anything. If not for his array formations binding this fellow, he would not have had the opportunity to attack at all. Heaven-seated cultivators truly were powerful. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and rushed up like crazy. The long spear in his hand transformed into a fiery shadow. This was not a spear technique, but his maximal flame spiritual technique. The cultivator trapped by Ning Cheng's endless killing and entrapment formations suddenly felt the void around him collapse, causing him to feel shocked. Was this a space-related spiritual technique? However, he immediately relaxed. This was not a space-related spiritual technique, but a false spatial collapse. An ant who had not even reached the heaven-seated realm dared to use a false spatial collapse to sneak attack him. The cultivator no longer cared about the killing arrays around him. A faint ray of light directly broke through Ning Cheng's maximal flame spiritual technique and stabbed towards Ning Cheng. Boom boom boom. A terrifying explosion erupted, and the celestial river flame from the maximal flame spiritual technique completely wrapped around the cultivator. Poof! At the same time, the faint ray of light that the cultivator brought out pierced through Ning Cheng's chest and came out from Ning Cheng's back. An arrow of blood shot out from this faint ray of light. Ning Cheng felt as if his entire body was about to be torn apart by this ray of light. The next moment, his entire body would collapse, and his bones would crack inch by inch. At this moment, his body forging finally played a role, forcibly controlling the collapse of his body. Although this cultivator had severely injured Ning Cheng, he also did not have a good time. Countless killing lights bombarded his body, while the maximal flame spiritual technique tore apart his clothes. Although his clothes could be considered as armor, it still could not stop the celestial river flame. A fist-sized bloody hole appeared on the cultivator's chest. Ning Cheng knew that although the ray of light had pierced through him, his injuries were much heavier than the other parties. The fist-sized hole in his chest was nothing to this heaven-seated cultivator. Good, it turned out to be a nirvana body-forging cultivator. The cultivator, on seeing that he could not take down Ning Cheng despite his injuries, turned even angrier. Not only did his imposing aura not weaken because of his injuries, but it even grew stronger. Ningqing knew that this was the moment of life and death. As long as he desperately blocked this cultivator's angry blow, he might be able to win. As the cultivator's imposing aura soared, Ningqing threw out a handful of array flags in his hand. Boom boom boom. Several rank 5 explosion array formations exploded, and then a series of rustling sounds mixed in with the explosions grew more and more intense. The surrounding space felt as if endless killing intent had swept through it. At this moment, amidst the explosions and the rustling sounds, there was only an aura of death. Ningqing cut off all means of retreat and activated all his array formations at once. He no longer wanted to wait for the other party to break through his array formations one by one. This king wants to see what you can use to block this king after using up all your array formations. The cultivator's anger reached the extreme at this moment. His imposing aura soared as he prepared to kill this ant. He never expected that this ant would dare to kill him at this time. Wanting to kill a heaven-seated monarch with just these array formations exploding at the same time, was this ant crazy? However, because of Ningqing's crazy attacks, he had to change his killing move, which he originally intended to kill Ningqing, into a defensive one. Otherwise, even if he could kill this ant, he would still suffer heavy injuries. If he knew that Ningqing's next move was Sunset's Twilight, he would not have switched to a defensive stance even if he suffered 10 times the damage. Unfortunately, there was no such thing as if in this world. When he brought out his defensive weapon, the surroundings suddenly turned silent. No, it didn't turn silent, but infinitely slow. He saw his life, just like the sun that was about to fall, turning dim and dim. It was a beautiful moment, but his heart was filled with fear. Chapter 638. The cultivator's expression changed drastically, and his eyes showed a look of horror. This was the laws of time, definitely the laws of time. At this moment, he could no longer care about anything else. Crazily burning his lifespan, he desperately expanded his sea of consciousness. Even if his sea of consciousness burst and his lifespan exhausted, he had to break through this momentary pause in time. He knew that this was not the laws of time. If it were the real laws of time, even his thoughts would stop, and he would not be able to do anything. However, even if it was just a superficial understanding of the laws of time, he could not resist it. Catcha! He finally broke free from Ningqing's Sunset's Twilight. His celestial essence finally recovered, and his world began to come alive. He no longer remained still. However, a long spear pierced through his glabella in an instant, and his time froze once again. Ningqing weakly held onto the long spear and barely managed to keep standing. If the other party had ignored the array formation's explosion and continued to attack him, he would not have stood a chance. If his array formation was not a grade 5 Celestial River Array formation but a grade 4 Celestial River Array formation, he would not have stood a chance. Sunset's Twilight would at most allow him to escape, but it would never be able to kill this powerful fellow. There were no ifs in this world. Laws of time, you are Jiangzhou's wanderer from the 9x9 Celestial Scryer Tower. The cultivator pointed to Ningqing, but his voice grew weaker. Although Ningqing had disguised himself as an old man, after the two of them stimulated their celestial essence and spiritual consciousness, he already knew that Ningqing was not that old. A young cultivator with such cultivation had already touched the surface of the laws of time. If it was not the Jiangzhou's wanderer who had climbed to the top of the 9x9 Celestial Scryer Tower and shocked the entire grand culmination starry skies, then who else could it be? I won't let you go. The cultivator uttered a final hoarse cry as an injured life essence leaked out. Ningqing knew what the other party was thinking and sneered. So what if you are in the heaven-seated realm? Do you think that I can't deal with the life essence of someone in the heaven-seated realm? As he spoke, several spiritual consciousness attacks locked onto the injured life essence. The cultivator's life essence immediately fell into despair as Ningqing's spiritual consciousness attacks wrapped around it. Let me go, I am Shang Mao Celestial River's Celestial River King Shang Mao Liang. If you kill me, heavenly emperor-leveled heart will not let you go. The life spirit desperately made a last effort. Ning Cheng stopped his spiritual consciousness attack in surprise and asked, "Are you really Shang Moyang?" Seeing that Ning Cheng seemed to recognize him, Shang Moyang felt a glimmer of hope in his heart and spoke up eagerly, "Yes, yes, I'm Shang Moyang, the Celestial River King of Shang Mao Celestial River." Ning Cheng truly did not expect that he would inadvertently avenge Shi Yulan. Immediately, he became excited. Shang Moyang had a true spirit world. He had snatched this true spirit world from Shi Yulan's hands, and since he inadvertently killed Shang Moyang, wouldn't this true spirit world be his? Regardless of whether he could return this true spirit world to Shi Yulan in the future or not, he really lacked such a thing right now. Letting the exploding golden wasps and chasing bulls stay in the minor 5-element array formation in the mysterious yellow bead was not a solution. Did you deliberately give away this metal origin crystal? What the hell do you want? Ning Cheng snorted and took out a crystal wrapped in a layer of exotic desolate extreme essence. Shang Moyang's heart sank once again. It seemed that Ning Cheng did not intend to let him go just because he knew that he was Shang Moyang. At the same time, he also realized that he had picked up a stone and smashed it on his own feet. "If you are willing to let my life essence go, I will definitely tell you everything." Shang Moyang still hoped that Ning Cheng would spare his life. Ning Cheng spoke up with disdain, "If you don't want to talk, then die." While speaking, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness attack swept out even tighter. Shang Moyang's life essence turned cold, and he no longer dared to beg for mercy. He quickly spoke up, "I'll talk, I have a true spirit world. Less verbose and nonsense. I'm asking you, did you take out this crystal?" After Ning Cheng cast Sunset's twilight, his celestial essence had already started to recover. As such, he did not rush to destroy Shang Moyang's life essence. Shang Moyang replied, "The reason I took out some metal origin crystals was to see if anyone wanted to search for origins. Because I obtained a metal origin bead, if I could obtain the 5 elemental origins, then my true spirit world would evolve into a quasi-primal chaos world, which would be countless times more powerful than a true spirit world." Shang Moyang obtained the metal origin bead and was eager to obtain the rest of the origin beads. He thought that the cultivators who obtained the rest of the origin beads would also want the metal origin bead. In fact, Shang Moyang's thoughts were not wrong. Almost all the cultivators who were eager to obtain the origin beads had their own secrets. He believed that even if a cultivator coveted his metal origin bead, he would still have the upper hand. The main reason was that he had too many metal origin crystals. Therefore, he wanted to try this method. As for whether it would work or not, he did not care about it. Over the years, there had indeed been a few cultivators looking for his whereabouts through the metal origin crystals. However, these cultivators only came for the metal origin bead. Most of them came for the origin crystals, and none of them possessed the rest of the origin beads. These cultivators who were searching for his whereabouts were naturally killed by him without exception. "What, did you say you have the metal origin bead?" Ning Cheng interrupted Shang Moyang in surprise. Originally, he just wanted to ask Shang Moyang where he obtained the metal origin crystals. Unexpectedly, the harvest was so big that Shang Moyang actually had the metal origin bead. Shang Moyang's life essence felt like it had turned into an ice cave. This cultivator really came for the metal origin bead. He wanted to find the other origin beads, and just as he thought, there were also people looking for the metal origin bead. "I have the metal origin bead. As long as you let me go, my true spirit world and the metal origin bead are all yours. I also have a lot of treasures in my Shang Mao Celestial River. I can give them all to you." Shang Moyang only had one request at this time, that is, Ning Cheng leave his life essence behind and not kill him. Ning Cheng sneered, "Is the true spirit world yours? Don't you have any shame? You robbed my friend Shi Yulan's true spirit world. Today, I came to avenge my friend." "Are you Shi Yulan's friend?" Celestial River King Shang Mao's life essence completely lost all hope. If this person in front of him was Shi Yulan's friend, then maybe this person came here specifically for revenge. That's right, extinguish it for me. Ning Cheng understood the whole story. Under the sweep of his spiritual consciousness, the celestial river flame directly turned Shang Moyang's life essence into nothingness. As for Celestial River King Shang Mao saying that there were many good things in the Shang Mao Celestial River, Ning Cheng did not believe it. Since Celestial River King Shang Mao had a true spirit world, he definitely would have brought many good things with him. After destroying Celestial River King Shang Mao, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed his storage ring. At the same time, his spiritual consciousness swept inside. Sure enough, his spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it at all. This storage ring truly was a true spirit world. With Celestial River King Shang Mao's cultivation, he had already refined this true spirit world for many years. Therefore, if he wanted to fully use this true spirit world, it would not be a short time. When Shi Yulan's ancestors obtained this true spirit world, even if they refined it for several generations, they could only use it as an ordinary miniature world. Unless the true spirit world took the initiative to recognize a master, a cultivator without a celestial scryer realm would find it difficult to refine the true spirit world. Ning Cheng did not immediately start refining this true spirit world. Instead, he killed Celestial River King Shang Mao. This place should be safe. Before going to search for the Purple Een Spirit Spring, he should stay here and cultivate for a while. At the very least, he should consume all the cultivation resources around him. Ning Cheng had already given some perpetual moon pills to Qianghua and Luofei, but he still had 1 or 2 million perpetual moon pills on him. With so many perpetual moon pills, coupled with the rich starry sky essence chi in this place, he could definitely advance further. What made Ning Cheng look forward to the most was that no one from the outside could detect the aura in this place. Maybe he could enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate from here. Another 2 months passed by, and Ning Cheng finally finished reading the basics of artifact crafting given to him by Zhongli Baiqi. At this time, he finally realized how heaven-defying this book was. To be precise, it was not appropriate to call this book Basics of Artifact Crafting. Even if it was the basics of artifact crafting, one could only read it for the first time. Every time he read it, the content inside would deepen by a level and cover a wider range of topics. After reading the book, Ning Cheng finally understood what Shang Moyang meant by a quasi-primal chaos world. A true spirit world could become a quasi-primal chaos world if it gathered 5 kinds of origins or the 5 elements. However, it would be extremely difficult to gather 5 kinds of origins and elements. Despite knowing that it would be difficult, Ning Cheng understood Shang Moyang's approach. Ning Cheng, like Shang Moyang, wanted to gather 5 kinds of origins. Compared to a miniature world, a true spirit world was countless times more advanced. However, even a true spirit world could not prevent the spiritual consciousness of a true powerhouse from peeping into it. A true spirit world, at best, was equivalent to a planet with relatively higher laws. However, a primal chaos world was completely different. It was an existence that transcended ordinary worlds. Once a primal chaos world formed, even if it was a quasi-primal chaos world, even an expert surpassing the eternal realm would not be able to peep into it with their spiritual consciousness. Moreover, his mysterious yellow bead itself was a good fortune treasure. Once he gathered all 5 kinds of origins, it would form his own good fortune world. This was an existence that transcended the primal chaos world. Thinking of obtaining the metal origin bead and having 4 kinds of origins, Ning Cheng felt even more expectant in his heart. Gathering all 5 kinds of origins, for him, was only a step away. Ning Cheng benefited a lot from this knowledge. But what made Ning Cheng even more excited was that he also learned about the method to upgrade the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. At the end of the book, he also saw the refining methods and materials needed for several top-grade weapons. Among them was the refining method for the Good Fortune Spirit Spear, which required Twilight Sand, Opening Heaven Iron Essence, and 5 elements Spirit Water. Ning Cheng was happy that he already had the Twilight Sand, but after seeing the Opening Heaven Iron Essence, his excitement completely disappeared. According to the book, the Opening Heaven Iron Essence was the first piece of fine iron condensed from primal chaos aura at the beginning of heaven and earth. It sounded like a treasure no worse than the 5 elements of origins. Where could he find it? If the opening heaven iron essence made Ning Cheng feel lost, then the 5 element spirit water made Ning Cheng completely dispel the idea of refining this spear. Chapter 639. The 5 element spirit water was the water that condensed within the good fortune world the moment it formed. According to reason, Ning Cheng possessed the good fortune mysterious yellow bead, which meant that it was possible for him to form a good fortune world. As long as it could form a good fortune world, it would be possible to obtain the 5 element spirit water. To Ning Cheng's disappointment, if his good fortune world did not have the breath soil when it formed, the mysterious yellow bead would not produce the 5 elements spirit water when it gathered the 5 elements origin to form the good fortune world. This meant that if he wanted the 5 elements spirit water, he would need to find the breath soil in addition to the 5 elements origin. Ning Cheng already knew about the preciousness of the breath soil, but he had never thought about it. However, these were not all. The most important thing was that his flame had to give birth to a fire spirit, and it had to be a top-grade flame. Otherwise, even if he gathered all these things, he would not be able to refine the good fortune spirit spear. After knowing how abnormal the good fortune spirit spear was, Ning Cheng decided to wait for his flame to evolve in the future. He would melt the nirvana spear without a spearhead, add some twilight sand, and refine it into a long spear weapon. As for the 5 elements spirit water and the breath soil, he decided to forget about them. In the following days, Ning Cheng did not leave this place. He stayed in this cave filled with rich spiritual qi, took out the praying mat where Chasing Bull used to reside, and began to cultivate while refining the true spirit world. This praying mat was a very good weapon that could actively absorb the surrounding starry sky essence qi, purify it, and store it. After another 3 months, Ning Cheng finally took control of the true spirit world ring. Although he had not yet fully refined the true spirit world, he could now store things inside and take out the items inside. When Ning Cheng saw the things inside the true spirit world, he could not help but sigh at the wealth of Celestial River King Shang Mao. A variety of high-grade artifact crafting materials and high-grade starry sky spiritual grasses were piled up like mountains. Even grade 4 and grade 5 Celestial River medicinal pills, which others found difficult to obtain, he had hundreds of bottles here. However, there were not many celestial pills above grade 5, just a few bottles. What attracted Ning Cheng the most was not these materials, nor the spiritual grasses and medicinal pills or the starry sky grade battleship, but a jade box that exuded a metal-attributed origin aura. Ning Cheng raised his hand and took the jade box in his hand. Opening the jade box, he saw a golden bead lying inside the jade box. The aura of the metal origin was clearly visible to him. Sure enough, it was the metal origin bead. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised as he grabbed the metal origin bead and immediately threw the metal origin bead into the mysterious yellow bead. After the metal origin bead entered the mysterious yellow bead once again changed. Ning Cheng vaguely felt that his mysterious yellow bead had gained many more laws out of thin air, and the mysterious yellow bead's world had also turned more vivid. At the same time, it also had a hint of metal-cutting aura. To Ning Cheng's regret, his mysterious yellow bead still lacked a kind of life wood aura. If he had the wood origin bead, maybe his mysterious yellow bead would undergo earth-shaking changes. Ning Cheng was very much looking forward to it. When he obtained the wood origin bead in the future, what kind of form would the mysterious yellow bead appear in front of him? In addition to the metal origin bead, what made Ning Cheng the happiest was that he once again harvested 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills. For a celestial river king in the heaven-seated realm to have 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills, it was a rare thing. One had to know that perpetual moon pills had a great effect on the cultivation of heaven-seated powerhouses. Most of the perpetual moon pills obtained by starry sky cultivators would be used for cultivation. As such, only a few people could save up so many perpetual moon pills. Since he obtained so many perpetual moon pills, Ning Cheng decided to go into secluded cultivation. Since this place isolated the aura, Ning Cheng felt that he should be able to enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate. He had never entered the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate before, yet his cultivation speed far exceeded that of ordinary cultivators. If he could enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate, he could not help but wonder what kind of speed he could achieve. 3 months later, Ning Cheng finally opened his eyes. The celestial essence in his meridians gave off a sizzling sound, just like a rushing river. It was not only clear and powerful, but also without any noise. Surprise could not describe Ning Cheng's mood at this moment. It was not until today that he fully realized the heaven-defying nature of the mysterious yellow bead. Cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead was several times more powerful than cultivating with the mysterious yellow origin. Not to mention these things, cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead could also cleanse his life essence and corporeal body. Even if his cultivation did not improve at all, his potential would become even more powerful because of cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead. Cultivation potential was closely related to one's spiritual root and comprehension ability. Ning Cheng already knew that the mysterious yellow bead could gradually purify one's spiritual root. He not only knew that the mysterious yellow bead could purify one's spiritual root, but it could also give birth to other spiritual roots. What he did not know was that cultivating in the mysterious yellow bead could also enhance his comprehension ability. Ning Cheng's comprehension ability was already stronger than ordinary cultivators, and now that he cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead, it had gone even further. From this, it could be seen that the longer he cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead, the stronger his comprehension ability would become. In just 3 months of cultivation, he was already close to the peak of early-stage undead realm. Moreover, he still had more than 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills left. As a starry sky cultivator, Ning Cheng naturally knew that the higher a cultivator's cultivation, the more difficult it would be to advance. From just entering the undead realm to approaching the peak of early-stage undead realm in just 3 months, it was definitely a rare occurrence. Without enough cultivation resources, many cultivators would need thousands or even tens of thousands of years to complete this process. Even with a large number of perpetual moon pills, it would still take dozens to hundreds of years. What's more, even with a large number of perpetual moon pills, one could not absorb them without limit. One's body had to be able to support it, and one's cultivation method had to be able to absorb it all. Ning Cheng had a large number of perpetual moon pills, as well as a large number of breakthrough medicinal pills. However, unlike others, his mysterious yellow formless could absorb even more starry sky's essence chi. Moreover, he was also a body-forging cultivator. All of these might be the reason why Ning Cheng could advance from early stage to peak early stage undead realm so quickly. However, Ning Cheng felt sure that the main reason was because he cultivated in the mysterious yellow bead. With the mysterious yellow bead's heaven-defying strength, Ning Cheng immediately decided to rush to the middle stage undead realm. With his current speed, he could advance to the middle stage undead realm in a month at most. Just when Ning Cheng was about to continue his secluded cultivation, he suddenly felt a slight twitch in his life essence. Since obtaining the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng had been very cautious. Now that his life essence had twitched slightly, it felt a little uneasy. Therefore, he immediately came out of the mysterious yellow bead. Just as he walked out of the immortal cave, Ning Cheng's eyes saw some slight ripples on the void array entrance through which he came in. "Someone's coming in." Ning Cheng had just thought of these words when a faintly discernible figure seemed to have entered this place. In just a flash, Ning Cheng crazily rushed towards another void array entrance and stepped inside without even thinking about it. At the same time as he rushed in, his spiritual consciousness saw a pale-faced man enter this place. This pale-faced man did not go anywhere else, and his reaction was not any slower than Ning Cheng's. Almost as soon as he came in, he rushed towards Ning Cheng while simultaneously sending out a big hand to grab him. A terrifying deathly suppression surged up, causing Ning Cheng to purse his lips and speed up. It wasn't until the dizziness hit him that Ning Cheng realized that he had started to teleport away. The moment the dizziness disappeared, Ning Cheng immediately brought out the starry sky wheel. Although the twin wings of the heavenly clouds could allow him to leave in the shortest time, Ning Cheng knew that the speed of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds was no different from a child's play in front of the pale-faced cultivator chasing after him. Ning Cheng would rather waste a breath of time to bring out the starry sky wheel. After bringing out the starry sky wheel, it only took a breath of time before it tore through the void and disappeared without a trace. This speed definitely surpassed the instantaneous movement speed of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Even so, Ning Cheng's starry sky wheel had just rushed out when it started to shake. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew that the cultivator chasing after him had used his celestial essence giant hand to grab him. The other party's celestial essence giant hand had not caught his starry sky wheel, but just the celestial essence fluctuations caused his starry sky wheel to lose its stability. This cultivation was simply too terrifying. Ning Cheng did not know the cultivation of the cultivator chasing after him, but he felt sure that the other party's cultivation was not any lower than Chuan Xinluo's. Moreover, he did not have an intuitive impression of Chuan Xinluo's strength. The pale-faced man chasing after him gave Ning Cheng an intuitive impression that he did not even have the right to resist in front of this person. Maybe as long as he was a breath slower, the other party would have been able to catch him. With the starry sky wheel almost caught by the other party, how could Ning Cheng dare to stay for even half a moment? He had not fully refined the starry sky wheel, so wouldn't it be equivalent to courting death if he stayed any longer? What's more, he could feel that the cultivator behind him was still relentlessly chasing after him. Ning Cheng crazily controlled the starry sky wheel to escape, but at the same time, he also realized why the pale-faced cultivator had found him. Although the mysterious yellow bead was a good treasure, the mysterious yellow origin aura could only be concealed deep within his sea of consciousness. Once exposed, even in a secluded minor heaven domain, one would not be able to hide their aura completely. Although he could not feel the spiritual consciousness mark of the minor heaven domain from the outside, it did not mean that others could not feel it. The pale-faced cultivator chasing him most likely had found him because of the mysterious yellow origin aura. The first time he took out the mysterious yellow bead for cultivation, he ended up being targeted. At this moment, how could Ning Cheng care about the direction? He simply did not have the time to go in that direction. Ning Cheng pushed the starry sky wheel to its limits. Not only did he burn a bunch of perpetual moon pills to power the starry sky wheel, but he also crazily poured his celestial essence into the starry sky wheel. Chapter 640. With the speed of the starry sky wheel, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could only find a relatively safe starry sky route. Even so, meteorites still hit the starry sky wheel from time to time. Fortunately, the starry sky wheel was extremely powerful, and when it collided with the meteorites, they all shattered. As for the starry sky demonic beasts, Ning Cheng wasn't too worried about them. No matter how many starry sky demonic beasts there were, they couldn't keep up with the speed of the starry sky wheel. From time to time, the starry sky wheel would hit some meteorites, which, although had no effect on the starry sky wheel, affected its speed. The powerhouses chasing after him would also need to avoid these meteorites. With this offset, Ning Cheng could barely maintain a slight lead. Even if it was just a small lead, over time, the gap between them would widen. As the feeling of being caught grew weaker and weaker, Ning Cheng finally relaxed a little. This was the fastest speed he had been flying for 6 months. Instead of using more than 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills for cultivation, he had used them to increase the speed of the starry sky wheel. Even so, Ning Cheng didn't dare to stop. Although the feeling was weak, it was still there. Once he stopped, maybe that fellow would appear in front of him in just a few breaths. Ning Cheng's starry sky sea of consciousness was powerful, driving the starry sky wheel at full speed for half a year without even a moment of relaxation made him feel exhausted. He couldn't even figure out how far he had run. Just when Ning Cheng calculated how long he could fly, the 50th layer of restrictions of the starry sky wheel suddenly cracked. Ning Cheng automatically refined this layer of restrictions after controlling the starry sky wheel for half a year. With the 50th layer of restrictions broken, the speed of the starry sky wheel instantly increased by a notch. Ning Cheng felt ecstatic. He had been worrying about what to do once he exhausted all his perpetual moon pills and exhausted his sea of consciousness, and that fellow still chasing after him. However, he didn't expect that his cultivation would improve by leaps and bounds. Even his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence had improved a lot. At this time, even if he didn't deliberately refine the starry sky wheel, driving the starry sky wheel for half a year finally opened the 50th layer of restrictions. With the starry sky wheel's speed increasing, Ning Cheng finally felt relieved. It wasn't just a matter of the starry sky wheel's speed increasing, but he also forgot to refine the starry sky wheel. Although Ning Cheng controlled the starry sky wheel, it didn't affect him from refining it. As another month passed by, Ning Cheng finally managed to refine the starry sky wheel to the 54th layer of restrictions. At this moment, Ning Cheng no longer felt anxious. The starry sky wheel's speed had almost doubled compared to before. If that fellow could still catch up to it, then that fellow was simply too much of a freak. In the starry sky countless miles behind Ning Cheng, a pale-faced cultivator stopped and silently looked in the direction where Ning Cheng disappeared, his eyes filled with unwillingness. If his speed was similar to his cultivation, he would have already caught up with the ant in front of him. My luck is still a little lacking. What a pity! The pale-faced man muttered to himself with a pained expression. He knew very well why the flying car in front of him had suddenly sped up. This was definitely the starry sky wheel. If it were any other starry sky weapon, even if it were a top-grade starry sky battleship, he would have already caught up to it. The immortal Jade Star had given birth to the starry sky wheel not too long ago. Ning Cheng did not expect to encounter it. Since the starry sky wheel had been driven continuously for more than half a year, it must have refined more and more restrictions. With more and more restrictions being refined, it was only natural for the starry sky wheel to increase its speed. With the speed of the starry sky wheel, he could forget about catching up. Feeling that the person behind him had stopped chasing, Ning Cheng drove the starry sky wheel for another month before stopping. By this time, he had refined the 57th layer of restrictions of the starry sky wheel. The starry sky wheel's starry sky coordinate map no longer had any place markings, only a small bright spot in the corner. Ning Cheng stood on the deck of the starry sky wheel and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. It was a void filled with raging meteorite flows, with no direction and no traces of people. Ning Cheng understood that he had most likely lost his way. The only place he could go now was that small bright spot. Maybe after reaching that small bright spot, he would be able to find his way again. However, Ning Cheng also understood that although the bright spot looked close to him based on the starry sky coordinates, it wouldn't take a while to reach it. He simply called Chasing Bull out to help him control the starry sky wheel while he continued to cultivate. With more than 100,000 perpetual moon pills, advancing to the middle stage of the undead realm shouldn't be a problem. 2 months later, Ning Cheng successfully advanced to the middle stage of the undead realm. Although the bright spot had grown a bit brighter, he still hadn't reached it. Ning Cheng continued to let Chasing Bull control the starry sky wheel while he started to study artifact crafting and alchemy. He had obtained a lot of starry sky materials and starry sky spiritual grasses from Shang Moyang, which were suitable for him to try out. As another half a year passed by, Ning Cheng gave out a sigh and stopped refining artifact crafting and alchemy. In half a year, he could barely refine grade 6 Celestial River medicinal pills and high-grade Dao artifacts. However, this speed wasn't fast for Ning Cheng. Rather, it was ridiculously slow. Ning Cheng could barely refine high-grade Dao artifacts, but he had become more familiar with it. Ning Cheng knew the reason for his slow progress. It was because the grade of his flame was too low. Celestial River flame wasn't bad, but his flame hadn't undergone nirvana and couldn't even compare to the most ordinary nirvana flames. Ning Cheng could refine high-grade Dao artifacts and grade 6 Celestial River medicinal pills with flames that hadn't undergone nirvana. Ignoring Chasing Bull, Ning Cheng continued to study array formations. Array formations had very low requirements for flames. The only reason he could kill Shang Moyang was that his attainments in array formations had improved. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been Shang Moyang's opponent. Just then, Chasing Bull's voice arrived. "Master, we're almost there." Hearing Chasing Bull say that they were almost there, Ning Cheng quickly rushed to the deck. Sure enough, a large blurry shadow appeared within his spiritual consciousness. Not only that, but his spiritual consciousness also detected some sporadic flight-type weapons passing by. Chasing Bull, enter the true spirit world. I'll go take a look. After greeting Chasing Bull and sending it into the true spirit world, Ning Cheng put away the starry sky wheel and took out a middle-grade Dao artifact flight-type weapon. The flight-type weapon flew for an hour before Ning Cheng could finally see it clearly. What appeared in front of him was a boundless cluster of broken stars. Broken stars were either broken planets or starlands with incomplete laws. The cluster of broken stars here stretched on endlessly, and Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness couldn't reach its depths. He could only see meteorites flashing through the boundless cluster of broken stars, while the starry sky and void intermingled together. Within the limited range of his vision, he could see countless void collapses and void blade lights crisscrossing through the void. Some of the broken stars that made up the vast cluster of broken stars were connected to each other, while some even had a void in the middle. As he got closer, Ning Cheng found that not only did he see all kinds of void blade lights, void collapses, and vortexes crisscrossing through the void. Some of the broken stars still had flames rising to the sky, while the surrounding areas were covered in icebergs and seas of snow. The entire cluster of broken stars exuded a dilapidated, vicissitudes, and desolate scene. These dilapidated and sad scenes seemed to tell every cultivator who came here that all the broken stars here used to be glorious, but now they no longer had that glory, only desolation. On the periphery of this cluster of broken stars, there were some starry sky battleships and airships. Some of these airships even had the names of merchant houses marked on them, while some even had signboards indicating that they were heading to the planet. With many starry sky cultivators coming and going, Ning Cheng's flight-type weapon blended into the crowd, but no one cared about it. Ning Cheng put away the flight-type weapon and stopped a male cultivator with a celestial bridge cultivation. He cupped his fists and asked, "Friend, I've just arrived here and don't know much about this place. I would like to ask you something." The male cultivator, on seeing that Ning Cheng's cultivation did not seem to be any lower than him, quickly spoke up, "There is an ancient Desolace Chamber of Commerce in front of you. You can go there and buy some jade strips about the ancient Desolace abandoned land." Ning Cheng had already seen the name of the ancient Desolace Chamber of Commerce, a starry sky battleship. At this moment, he realized that the Chamber of Commerce was named after this place, the ancient Desolace abandoned land. After thanking the cultivator, Ning Cheng quickly arrived at the ancient Desolace Chamber of Commerce. At a glance, one could tell that this battleship belonged to a large starry sky merchant house. Not only did it have an ancient Desolace merchant house, but it also had a variety of rest stops, weapon pavilions, pill shops, and so on. Ning Cheng walked into the ancient Desolace merchant house and found many people choosing various things inside. "Do you have a detailed introduction to the ancient Desolace abandoned land?" Ning Cheng walked up to a shop assistant and asked. The shop assistant immediately replied, "Of course. Our ancient Desolace merchant house's introduction to the ancient Desolace abandoned land is by far the most extensive of all the merchant houses. In addition, we also sell jade strips with maps of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. What is the price for the most detailed introduction to the ancient Desolace abandoned land and the map jade strip?" Ning Cheng nodded and asked. The shop assistant apparently had heard Ning Cheng ask such questions many times and immediately replied, "The most detailed introduction jade strip is priced at 1 million purple coins, while the map jade strip is priced at 3 million purple coins." Ning Cheng did not immediately ask for it. 4 million purple coins was not a high price for him. However, these two things were definitely very common in this place. He did not expect that someone would quote such a high price. As if knowing that Ning Cheng would hesitate, the shop assistant immediately explained, "Friend, our ancient Desolace abandoned lands introduction jade strip and map jade strip are definitely worth the money. Only our merchant house's map jade strip introduces some vague interface exits." Ning Cheng felt surprised in his heart. He did not care about anything else and directly interrupted the shop assistant's words. Did you say that there are interface exits in the ancient Desolace abandoned land? Naturally. The shop assistant looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression. Many of the cultivators who come here know that the ancient Desolace abandoned land's interface intersects with each other. As long as you find the right place, you can directly pass through the interface from this place to the other side. Not only that, but I also heard that there are some places where the interface intersects. However, these places are too far away, and no one has yet to find the place where the interface intersects. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and directly took out 4 million purple coins and said, I want to buy one of these jade strips. Chapter 641. The exposure of the mysterious yellow bead was not a trivial matter. Since he could see the pale-faced cultivator, how could that pale-faced cultivator not see him? Since the pale-faced cultivator was looking for him, Chuan Xinlo might suspect him sooner or later. Zhongli Baiqi had also returned and should be looking for him. There was also the everlasting Holy Shrine's sacred master. Everyone thought that he had died in the changing Earth Mountain, but now that he reappeared, whether it was because of the talisman or something else, that sacred master would definitely look for him. With so many powerhouses looking for him, even 100 Ning Cheng wouldn't be enough to kill him. No one knew about the relationship between him and Ruolin, so there shouldn't be any danger. Lufei and Qianghua staying in the everlasting sacred shrine might seem dangerous, but it should be safer than following him. The ancient Desolace abandoned land actually had a place where interfaces intersected. If he wanted to grow stronger, he would have to leave this world. Song Wei had left this positional plane, but Ning Cheng knew that he had the heaven-opening talisman. Although he could use the starry sky wheel to travel between the major starry skies, it was still impossible to break through the interface. Even if he could return to the graceful star mainland, he couldn't do it. Ning Cheng made up his mind at this moment, just like how he could quickly return to the rootless Black City and take away Qianghua. If he wanted to return to the everlasting sacred shrine, he would have to go further. When the shop assistant heard Ning Cheng say that he wanted 2 jade strips, he felt overjoyed and quickly went to fetch the jade strips. At this time, 2 cultivators walked past Ning Cheng, and one of them spoke up, Brother Wei, a few days ago, someone found a half-spirit artifact in the ancient Desolace abandoned land along with a broken immortal cave. Was it near the reverse mud maelstrom? I remember that you were also in the vicinity at that time. Yes, it was there, but I was a bit far away. When that broken immortal cave came out, more than a dozen people tried to snatch it, but the reverse mud maelstrom swept away 7 people. My strength was too low, so I didn't go up. The other cultivator replied. As the 2 spoke, they walked past Ning Cheng. The shop assistant brought over 2 jade strips, and after Ning Cheng paid the purple coins, he immediately left the ancient Desolace merchant house. He didn't know where the reverse mud maelstrom was, but he was sure that it was a corner of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Unexpectedly obtaining a semi-divine artifact in this place, Ning Cheng finally understood why so many cultivators came to the ancient Desolace abandoned land. There must surely be a high number of primordial grotto mansions and primordial magic treasures here. These cultivators had come here in search of opportunities. Half an hour later, Ning Cheng arrived at the edge of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Ning Cheng had just looked at the introduction jade strip of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, which gave him some understanding of it. Not only was this a place for cultivators to temper their bodies, but it was also a place for cultivators to search for treasures. A top-notch Hotian spiritual treasure had appeared in the ancient Desolace abandoned land. As for the various spirit artifacts, immortal caves, ancient cultivation methods, heavenly materials and earthly treasures, there were simply too many to count in the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Over the years, countless powerhouses had obtained fortuitous encounters here. Similarly, countless cultivators had fallen here over the years. The periphery of the ancient Desolace abandoned land was a bit better. Although there were void collapses, spatial blade lights, and void cracks, as long as one was careful, one could still survive. Once they entered the depths of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, their lives would no longer be in their control. In the depths of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, spatial dislocations were commonplace, and one could encounter them all the time. As for spatial collapses and spatial reversals, as well as violent snowstorms, they were just the most common dangers. What was even more terrifying was that one did not know when the broken star they were on would suddenly explode. Once a broken star exploded, even a heaven-seated powerhouse would find it difficult to escape. After all, this place was not like other places, where dangers lurked everywhere. Perhaps one could escape from the epicenter of such an explosion, only to step into a spatial dislocation the next moment. As for the reverse mud maelstrom, according to the introduction on the Jade Strip, it only belonged to the same level of danger as the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Just hearing about the dangers of the ancient Desolace abandoned land made one feel terrified. However, thinking about the powerful opponents he had to face, Ningqing did not hesitate to step into the ancient Desolace abandoned land. As soon as he stepped into the ancient Desolace abandoned land, the desolate feeling of vicissitudes became even more clear. There was even a vague sense of panic in his heart. It seemed that in the depths of the ancient Desolace abandoned land, there were some ancient remnant souls calling out to every cultivator here. However, once he stopped and carefully explored, the call of these remnant souls seemed to disappear. Ningqing felt sure that it was not an illusion. After obtaining the mysterious yellow bead, his intuition had become much stronger than before. Perhaps other cultivators would think that this was the ancient Desolace abandoned land, which led to this illusion. However, Ningqing did not think so, which made him even more careful as he walked. However, he did not stop because of this worry. Even if it was a terrifying soul essence, he did not fear it. Before his sea of consciousness had undergone nirvana, he did not fear possession. But now that his sea of consciousness had undergone nirvana, it had transformed into a starry skies sea of consciousness. Even if an ancient remnant soul tried to possess him, why would he fear it? The place Ningqing chose to go to was called the Moon Spirit Marsh. There were two reasons why he chose this place. Firstly, the Moon Spirit Marsh was located at the edge of a planar interface. Secondly, the ancient Desolace abandoned land's Jade Strip had a vague description of the Moon Spirit Marsh. If he could buy this Jade Strip, then others could also buy it. If someone really chased after him, then when guessing his destination, they would not have guessed that he would choose the vague description on the Jade Strip. After experiencing these things, Ningqing's approach was not to be afraid of 10,000, just in case. It was always better to be safe than sorry. Ningqing did not go far, at most a few dozen miles into the ancient Desolace abandoned land, when a few people called out to him. The ones who called out to him were 4 people, 2 men and 2 women. The one with the highest cultivation was a tall male cultivator with a bronze complexion and a hint of brilliance in his eyes. He turned out to be a person with double pupils. In Ningqing's view, this cultivator was already at the full circle of Heaven's mandate realm, a half step into the heaven-seated realm. Next to him was a female cultivator with a medium build. This female cultivator had big eyes and fair skin. She was also a pretty woman. Although her clothes looked a little loose, it could not hide her charm. This female cultivator also had Heaven's mandate cultivation and should have just entered the late-stage Heaven's mandate realm. The other male cultivator was a head shorter than Ningqing. He looked very handsome with a starry sky cultivator's bun on his head, which made him look very elegant. His cultivation was at the middle stage of the undead realm, which was similar to Ningqing's current cultivation. The last female cultivator had a relatively petite figure and an average appearance. She had sparse yellow hair and also had the lowest cultivation at the early stage of the undead realm. This friend, my name is Warren, and these are my companions, Yuan Xue, O Hongxin, Do Di. The one who spoke was the tallest cultivator with the highest cultivation. Ningqing noticed that when he introduced his friends, he also introduced them from the highest cultivation to the lowest. Rogue cultivator Cheng Yanxiong. Ningqing saw that these people did not seem to have any malicious intent and also cupped his fists. Warren spoke up with a warm smile. Friend, it's like this. We are planning to go to Crow's Nest. Originally, it was a 5-person team, but one of my friends withdrew because of a temporary matter. I see that this friend is alone. If you don't mind, the 5 of us can form a team and go together. Ningqing knew about Crow's Nest. According to the introduction on the Jade Strip, one could find top-grade materials for crafting flight-type weapons in this place. According to the Jade Strip, in ancient times, a Taoist crow had reached Tao confirming in this place. Later, he renamed the place where he reached Tao confirming as Crow's Nest. After Taoist crow broke through the positional plane and went far away, he left his Tao confirming ground behind. As for what Tao confirming was, Ningqing did not think much about it. In his opinion, Tao confirming was the same as Tsang Wei, cultivating beyond the eternal realm and then rushing out of this positional plane. Because Taoist crow was a demonic cultivator, he raised countless top-grade fiery wind crows as demonic pets. Except for a few who left with Taoist crow, most of these demonic pets stayed in Crow's Nest. How could demonic pets left behind by a Tao confirming powerhouse be simple? The tail feathers left behind by these fiery wind crows, each of which was priceless. What made them even more precious was that these fiery wind crows were windfire-attributed demonic beasts. Some of the fiery wind crows had accumulated over countless years, and some had even cultivated to a certain level. Even after they fell, they left behind their own life frames. This flame was known as the Scarlet Crow Fire, and many cultivators had obtained the Scarlet Crow Fire from this place. Whether it was alchemy or artifact crafting, the Scarlet Crow Fire was a remarkable flame. However, Ningqing did not want to go there. He already had the Starry Sky Wheel and the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. As for the flame, he already had the Celestial River Flame. The only thing he lacked was not the flame or the materials for crafting flight-type weapons, but how to evolve the Celestial River Flame. Ningqing hesitated for a moment before speaking up apologetically. "Sorry, I don't want to go to Crow's Nest. My cultivation is still too low, and I don't want to go to such a deep place." In fact, it was not that Ningqing did not want to go to such a deep place, but he wanted to go even deeper. Seeing Ningqing refuse, Yuanxue, who had a pair of big eyes, suddenly spoke up, "Brother Qing, if we were alone, we would not dare to go. But now that the 5 of us have teamed up, even if there is some danger, we would still be able to help each other. Moreover, I have already been to Crow's Nest once. This time, in addition to finding the Scarlet Crow Fire or the materials for crafting flight-type weapons, we also have something that no one can refuse." Ningqing showed a faint smile and did not ask about it. He was not interested in it. Yuanxue also did not expect that even after she spoke to this point, this cultivator would not even ask about it. She judged from Ningqing's celestial wheel that Ningqing should also have a cultivation in the undead realm. It stood to reason that since she offered something that no one could refuse, the other party would at least ask about it. Since Ningqing did not ask, she continued, "According to legend, after Taoist Crow reached Tao confirming, he left behind his Tao confirming insights in Crow's Nest. This time, we are going to look for Taoist Crow's Tao confirming insights because I have some clues. If we find it, everyone can carve a copy of it." Friend, many Starry Sky cultivators think that the Eternal Realm is the peak. In fact, there are many powerhouses above the Eternal Realm. It's just that many people do not know about it. Taoist Crow's Tao confirming insights is a very precious treasure for each of us. Warren explained from the side. Ningqing once again cupped his fists and spoke up in a deep voice, "I don't know the few of you. There are so many cultivators here, so why do you want to cooperate with me? Why would you give me such benefits?" Chapter 642. Warren showed a bitter smile and spoke. No wonder this friend was puzzled. Most of the cultivators who came to the ancient Desolace abandoned land have already formed teams. For those who didn't form a team, their cultivation was either too high or too low. The few of us are all above the undead realm. Cultivators with low cultivation would definitely not be willing to come with us. We don't dare to team up with Empyrean Realm seniors. To be honest, we have looked for some friends before, but none of them were willing to go with us. If my friend really doesn't agree, then the 4 of us can only go together. In fact, it wasn't just our group that went to the crow's nest to look for Taoist crow's Tao confirming insights. But we believe that our clues are definitely not inferior to others. Ning Cheng felt that these people truly wanted to find a partner. Therefore, he also felt that it would be a good idea to see Taoist crow's Tao confirming insights. Furthermore, the direction to the crow's nest and the moon god's swamp were about the same. There wasn't much of a difference. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng nodded and spoke. Since several friends have invited me with such hospitality, then I will also go and see if I can find a glimmer of opportunity. Hearing Ning Cheng agree, Warren and Yu Yuanxue felt very happy. Not only did they take the initiative to introduce the other two, but they also explained the situation of the crow's nest in detail. Oh Hongxin and Do Di, perhaps because of their low cultivation, only greeted Ning Cheng when Warren introduced them. However, they remained silent. The weapon that Ning Cheng brought out was a middle-grade flight-type Tao artifact, while the others brought out their celestial river-class battleships. A middle-grade flight-type Tao artifact definitely had a higher value compared to a beginner-level celestial river-class battleship. However, among the few people here, even Do Di, the worst one among them, used a middle-grade celestial river-class battleship. From this, it could be seen that these cultivators had been roaming around the ancient Desolace abandoned land for many years. Tao Friend's weapon. Warren looked at Ning Cheng's airship-type weapon and praised it. Warren was not trying to flatter him. Although an airship-type artifact was the easiest to refine out of all the flight-type artifacts, Warren knew that Warren was not trying to flatter him. But even so, the price of a middle-grade Tao artifact was still higher than a middle-grade Celestial River-class battleship. Celestial River-class battleships could be mass-produced, while middle-grade Tao artifacts could only be crafted by top-grade artifact crafting masters. The advantage of a warship over a flight-type magical treasure was that its attack power was stronger, and it had all kinds of technological attack weapons. And a good flying magical treasure was more agile than a warship. Yu Yuanxue did not lie when she said it once. She walked in front of them at an incomparably fast speed. She avoided some of the spatial storms and void vortexes. Occasionally, there would be some simple meteor showers, which did not cause much damage to them. Ning Cheng secretly nodded. Forming a team with these people was quite good. If he had to go through this part of the road himself, even with the introduction and map, it would take him a long time. There were too many dangers here. If one was not careful, they would be swallowed by the space. Along the way, the few of them rarely spoke, each controlling their own magic treasures to hurry on with their journey. Along the way, Ning Cheng also met many cultivators who were in a hurry. However, in this place, fights rarely broke out. Ning Cheng could also understand this. In this place, even if they were in a hurry, it would still be dangerous. If they did not have a deep hatred towards each other, who would want to fight in this place? The crow's nest was very close to where Ning Cheng wanted to go, but it was very far away from the periphery of the ancient Desolace abandoned land. As Ning Cheng followed the few of them deeper in, the desolation he felt in the ancient Desolace abandoned land became even more intense. He stretched out his divine sense. Sometimes, what he saw was clearly a broken piece of land or a withered old tree, but there was an indescribable sadness in it. Ning Cheng knew that it must be because the grass and trees here had borne too much of the owner's emotions when they were on the verge of collapse. Although the owners of these things had already fallen and turned into flying ashes, the residual emotions still affected the withered grass and gravel in this place. Only after his cultivation reached a certain level would he not be affected by these things. From this, one could see how high the cultivation of the cultivators who fell in this place was. At this moment, the everlasting Blue Thunder City in Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness suddenly pulsed. Ning Cheng felt startled and subconsciously stopped. The everlasting Blue Thunder City was something he obtained from the Law's Way. As his cultivation grew higher and higher, the refining of the everlasting Blue Thunder City also grew deeper and deeper. At this moment, the unranked Blue Thunder City that he brought out no longer looked like a shadow of nothingness. It even had a substantial body of a city wall. Because he had refined the everlasting Blue Thunder City more and more deeply, without his spiritual consciousness to drive it, it would not show any signs of movement. However, He did not even need to drive the everlasting Blue Thunder City, yet the everlasting Blue Thunder City still pulsed within his sea of consciousness. This definitely was not a normal situation. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness immediately swept out. For ordinary cultivators, their spiritual consciousness would not be able to sweep out too far in this place. Ning Cheng had a starry sky sea of consciousness. As such, his spiritual consciousness was far more powerful compared to ordinary cultivators. A moment later, Ning Cheng found a broken starry field 10,000 miles away with a huge black arrow stuck in it. Ning Cheng had never seen such a huge arrow before. Not only was this arrow huge, but when Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness came into contact with it, he immediately felt a deathly pressure. An indescribable uncomfortable feeling emerged in his heart, causing his sea of consciousness to tremble as if he wanted to vomit. Without waiting for Ning Cheng to recover, he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness finally calmed down. It no longer trembled or felt like it was about to collapse. When his spiritual consciousness came into contact with this black arrow, not only did his sea of consciousness tremble, but the everlasting Blue Thunder City in his sea of consciousness also pulsed even more violently. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and forcibly calmed down the everlasting Blue Thunder City. This black arrow gave him a very familiar impression. The pulsation of the everlasting Blue Thunder City, coupled with the sweep of his spiritual consciousness, at this time he realized why he was so familiar with this black arrow. When he entered the Thunder Domain in the Law's Way and refined the everlasting Blue Thunder City, he had seen a powerhouse shattering a planet with a single punch from the everlasting Blue Thunder City's memory. Then he saw a purple spear, which killed that powerhouse with a single strike. At this time, the powerful thunder from the everlasting Blue Thunder City blasted away all the powerhouses in the surroundings, showing off its powerful imposing manner. But even so, a black arrow suddenly shot into the everlasting Blue Thunder City. It directly tore open the surrounding void and shot the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort into the void. At the same time, it also blasted the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort's artifact spirit into another spacetime. It was clear how powerful this black arrow was. At this time, Ning Cheng was sure that the black arrow was the one that he had seen with his spiritual consciousness a moment ago. Moreover, the jade slip he bought also had an introduction to this black arrow, which was called the Arrow of Outer Heaven. The Foreign Heavens arrow could not be used to scan with one's spiritual sense. Once it was scanned, it would directly destroy one's sea of consciousness and they would be finished. He had just arrived here, so he didn't notice. Because of the throbbing of the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort, Ning Cheng immediately swept away the black arrow. Fortunately, his starry sky sea of consciousness had not reached the point where his sea of consciousness had collapsed. "Brother Cheng, why did you stop?" As Warren spoke, he saw Ning Cheng spitting out a mouthful of blood. His expression immediately changed as he asked, "Brother Cheng, this place is not far from the Foreign Heavens arrow. You must not sweep out with your spiritual consciousness. You wouldn't have swept out with your spiritual consciousness, right?" However, he immediately thought that this was impossible. Even if he spread out his divine sense, he would not be able to detect the Foreign Heavens arrow. Ning Cheng's cultivation should not be as high as his, so how could he detect the Foreign Heavens arrow? If he had managed to detect the Foreign Heavens arrow, it would not have been as simple as spitting out a mouthful of blood. Ning Cheng quickly waved his hand. "No, because my internal injuries have not healed, I just spat out a mouthful of blood. But I feel much better now. Brother Warren, you don't have to worry about me. Just keep going." He would never admit that his spiritual consciousness had detected the Foreign Heavens arrow. That would be equivalent to exposing the strength of his sea of consciousness. Although he spoke those words, Ning Cheng made up his mind. In the future, once his cultivation grew stronger, he would come here again and take away the Foreign Heavens arrow. Even a weapon as powerful as the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort could not escape from this black arrow. Just how powerful was this black arrow? It was not that no one wanted to take away the Foreign Heavens arrow, but that no one had the ability to do so. Although he had the starry sky sea of consciousness, he could not take it away. His cultivation was still too low. After flying for another half a month, Yuan Shue, who was leading the way, finally stopped. Warren and the others also stopped. Ning Cheng also put away his flight-type weapon. He knew that they had arrived at the crow's nest. There was a dark shadow in the distance. It was the Crow Star, the place where Taoist Crow had secluded himself to comprehend the Tao. However, at this moment, the Crow Star was already extremely dilapidated, and there was no longer any signs of life. Standing on the outskirts, one could feel the vicissitudes of time and desolation, as well as a rich fire-attributed aura. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could also sense some cultivators rushing into the Crow Star from time to time. From the looks of it, they most likely came here for Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights, materials for flight-type weapons, or the Scarlet Crow Flame. The Crow Star is right in front of us. In the Crow Star, we can't use our spiritual consciousness to probe beyond a radius of 10 miles. Although the Crow Star was damaged, Taoist Crow had arranged countless unbreakable restrictive arrays in the past. If we want to go to the Crow Star to look for Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights, we can only rely on the few of us to find it together. However, Brother Cheng, you don't have to worry. We are different from others. In order to keep in touch with each other, we will leave each other's communication beads, Warren said and took out his communication bead first. Ning Cheng also took out his communication pearl and left a spiritual consciousness tag with Warren's group of 4. Then let's go in. As long as it's not Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights or the Crow's Nest, the rest of the Crow's Nests or treasures will belong to whoever obtains them. Only Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights, we need to share it with each other. Moreover, Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights cannot be opened by a single person. No matter who it is, after finding this place, we must inform the others to gather together. Yuan Shue also stood up and spoke. Ning Cheng nodded to show that he understood. The Crow's Nest was actually the Crow Star. However, within the Crow Star, there were countless crows' nests. Some of them were built by the fiery wind crows left behind after Taoist Crow left. These crows' nests either contain the tail feathers of the fiery wind crows or the Scarlet Crow Flame. Chapter 643. As soon as Ning Cheng followed the few people into the Crow Star, he realized that his spiritual consciousness was different from others. Warren said that one's spiritual consciousness could only reach out to a radius of 10 miles. However, Ning Cheng did not even use his spiritual consciousness thorns to sweep out to a radius of 100 miles. Some of the broken restrictions couldn't block his divine sense at all. If he wanted to forcibly extend his divine sense, it was estimated that he would be able to reach further places. His sea of consciousness was indeed far stronger than ordinary cultivators, Ning Cheng thought in his heart. Ning Cheng didn't know how big the Crow Star was. He only knew that after coming in, it was filled with potholes, ravines, and collapsed mountains. One could guess that many cultivators were fighting here. Not only that, when the Crow planet's life was extinguished, it had also experienced a tragic collision. Sure enough, Yuan Shue was very familiar with the route. Although she could not use a flight-type magical weapon in this place, she turned left and right without stopping for even a moment. Moreover, her speed was also very fast. Initially, Ning Cheng thought that Warren had initiated the search for Taoist Crow's Tao-confirming insights. But now, it seems that it was Yuan Shue who initiated it. After the 5 of them walked for nearly 2 days, Yuan Shue suddenly stopped with an ugly expression on her face. "What? Junior sister Wan Shue?" Warren quickly asked. Yuan Shue spoke with some unwillingness towards Ning Cheng and the others. "The place that I came to know is this canyon. Now that so many people have come here, it shows that I'm not the only one who got the news." Hearing Yuan Shue's words, Warren and the others felt somewhat disappointed. Even if they hadn't found it yet, their chances were slim to none. Ning Cheng showed a smile. "I thought we didn't have to worry about it. Although there are a lot of cultivators here, I don't think it has been long since the others arrived. The chances are about the same for all of us. Things like fortuitous encounters are not necessarily first come, first served. Since we're already here, we might as well go in and take a look." Brother Cheng is right. There are many forks in this canyon. Let's enter the canyon to search for it. This kind of treasure can only be obtained with the help of opportunity. If you don't have the opportunity, then even if the treasure appeared in front of you, you wouldn't necessarily know about it. Warren immediately echoed Ning Cheng's words. Okay, that's it. Yuan Xue was the first to rush in. Apparently, Ning Cheng and Warren's words had worked. Treasures could only be obtained with luck. Without luck, even if you were in front of a treasure, what could you do? Ning Cheng also followed into the canyon. This canyon was a little special. The deeper one went, the wider it became. Furthermore, the deeper they went, the more forks in the canyon there were. After entering the depths of the canyon, Oh Hongxin was the first to choose a fork to enter, followed by Warren. After half an hour, Yuan Xue also chose a fork to enter. In the end, only Dou Di was left in Ning City. Among the five, Dou Di's cultivation was the lowest, at the early stage of the undead realm. Even Ning Cheng's true cultivation was much higher than hers. After the two of them ventured deeper for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng could feel a trace of water aura coming from one of the forks. Since his mysterious yellow bead fused with the water origin bead, he had become more sensitive to water auras compared to ordinary cultivators. Since entering the Crow Star for so long, Ning Cheng had never seen a drop of water in the Crow Star. He had never felt any water aura before. Now that he felt a trace of water aura, he immediately wanted to go in and have a look. Just when Ning Cheng wanted to say hello to Dou Di suddenly stopped and spoke. Brother Cheng, please stop. Ning Cheng had already planned to stop, but now that Dou Di called out to him, he immediately stopped and asked in doubt. Junior apprentice Sister Dou, what's the matter? Dou Di hesitated a little before speaking. Brother Cheng, although you joined our team later, I feel that you are more trustworthy than Oh Hongxin. I originally planned to cooperate with Oh Hongxin, but if Brother Cheng is willing, I have decided to cooperate with you. Cooperate with what? Besides, aren't we already cooperating? Ning Cheng asked in confusion. Dou Di simply spoke up. Brother Cheng, I know some of Taoist Crow's secrets. Originally, I planned to come back after a few days, but now that this place has been leaked out, many people have come here, so I have to act in advance. If Brother Cheng swears that you will not have any disloyalty, I will be willing to come up with these secrets and cooperate with Brother Cheng. Dou Di had a relatively petite figure and an average appearance. Her hair was sparse and yellow, making her look very unremarkable. However, Ning Cheng did not pay any special attention to her. It was not until this moment that Ning Cheng finally noticed Dou Di, and even used his spiritual consciousness to probe her. What surprised Ning Cheng was that Dou Di had a faint monstrous essence aura, which was different from that of ordinary cultivators. However, this aura was extremely weak, and if Ning Cheng had not taken the initiative to probe her with his spiritual consciousness, he would not have been able to see it. Ning Cheng calmly spoke up, I will cooperate with anyone as long as the other party does not have any bad intentions. I will not do anything that goes against my word. However, I never swear on such things. It is not a matter of daring or not, but rather, I am not willing to swear on such things. If you believe me, then we can cooperate. If you do not believe me, then we will part ways here. I am going to enter this fork. Hearing Ning Cheng say that he wanted to enter this fork, Dou Di's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise, but this surprise quickly disappeared. Then she took the initiative to speak to Ning Cheng. Brother Cheng, if I did not believe in Brother Cheng, I would not have said those words. Does Brother Cheng know what Taoist Crow's most powerful spirit technique is? It should be flames. Ning Cheng spoke with uncertainty. In his mind, Taoist Crow was a fire-attributed demonic cultivator and could even breed top-grade flames. Therefore, it was quite normal for him to have a powerful flame spirit technique. Dou Di nodded. That's right, Taoist Crow's most powerful spirit technique is indeed a flame spirit technique, but no one knows what kind of flame Taoist Crow uses. Is it not the Scarlet Crow flame? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Dou Di spoke up in a deep voice. Naturally not. Although Taoist Crow possesses countless Scarlet Crow flames, the flame he uses is not the Scarlet Crow flame, but the Heavenly Sifting Cloud. Heavenly Sifting Cloud? Ning Cheng repeated the words in amazement. Since reading the book given to him by Zhongli Baiqi, he was no longer a novice when it came to knowledge. Heavenly Sifting Cloud was a top-grade flame, second only to his Celestial River Flame. His Celestial River Flame's original name was Celestial River Scarlet, and it ranked second in the entire vast universe. Excluding the non-existent first, his flame could be said to rank first. Moreover, Heavenly Sifting Cloud ranked fifth among all the flames in the vast universe. This kind of flame was definitely not a trivial existence. That's right, it is the Heavenly Sifting Cloud. After Taoist Crow obtained the Heavenly Sifting Cloud, he did everything he could to make the Heavenly Sifting Cloud undergo nirvana. The best material for a flame to undergo nirvana would undoubtedly be the fire origin bead, but no one would think of using the fire origin bead to undergo nirvana. Taoist Crow is different from ordinary people. Things that others cannot use, he would use. He actually found the fire origin bead and then… Do Di's words were immediately interrupted by Ning Cheng. You mean that Taoist Crow used the fire origin bead to undergo nirvana for his Heavenly Sifting Cloud? Although he obtained the fire origin bead and even integrated it into the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng still had some doubts. Could it be that there was more than one fire origin bead? That couldn't be right. From what he knew, every origin bead was unique. Let me finish. Do Di continued. After Taoist Crow obtained the fire origin bead, he wanted his flame to undergo nirvana in its most powerful form. He opened up a magma pool in the core of a planet with the richest fire elements, and then let the fire origin bead absorb the origin flame essence in this magma pool. According to Taoist Crow, he intended to let his Heavenly Sifting Cloud undergo nirvana in this origin flame essence pool. But at that time, his enemy came to attack. After Taoist Crow and his enemy fought, the planet containing the fire origin bead got sucked into the void collapse due to the battle between the two and could no longer be found. At this point, Do Di gave out a sigh. Later, Taoist Crow could only use the golden fetal flame bead to undergo nirvana for his Heavenly Sifting Cloud. The place I'm going to is one of Taoist Crow's immortal caves, which is also the place where he underwent nirvana for his flame. Taoist Crow found a lot of golden fetal flame beads in the past, so there should still be some left. Ning Cheng did not answer Do Di's words for a long time. He certainly knew about the golden fetal flame bead, which was a top-grade material for flames to undergo nirvana. However, what he was thinking about right now was not the golden fetal flame bead, but the origin flame essence pool where Taoist Crow used the fire origin bead to absorb the origin flame essence. However, what Ning Cheng was currently thinking about was not the golden fetal flame bead, but the origin flame pool where Taoist Crow used the fire origin bead to swallow the origin flame essence. His heart was filled with regret. Ignorance really killed people. When he first obtained the fire origin bead, why didn't he think about that magma pool? He thought that when he took away the fire origin bead, the temperature of the magma pool immediately dropped. It should have lost its value. Ning Cheng did not expect that the value of that magma pool was much higher than the fire origin crystals, second only to the fire origin bead. However, he was now hundreds of millions of miles away from that magma pool. How could he get there? At this moment, he suddenly thought of a line. A supreme treasure was placed in front of him, but he ignored it. If he had another chance. Would he get another chance? Brother Cheng. Seeing Ning Cheng clenching his fists with a frown, seemingly sighing, Do Di called out in doubt. I agree to cooperate. The two of us can split the golden fetal flame bead in half. Ning Cheng recovered and spoke with some helplessness. Without the origin flame essence pool's nirvana flame, using the golden fetal flame bead would be just fine. Since Taoist Crow could use it, he could also use it. Do Di immediately spoke up, okay, that place is from here. At that time, breaking the array might require the two of us to work together. I can't break it by myself. Saying that, she took the lead and entered the side of the fork, while Ning Cheng followed behind her. This fork was the place where he had felt a trace of water aura. Not long after the two of them entered the fork, they once again saw a few more forks. Do Di quickly chose one of the forks, while Ning Cheng followed behind her unhurriedly. He could feel that the fork Do Di chose was the place where the water aura was the strongest. If not for Do Di wanting to cooperate with him, Ning Qing guessed that he would have also taken this route. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.